Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How's it going, Steve?
It's going well, Ben. How are you?
Good. I am A-okay. So, what's been going on? Normally I just say, how's it going? But I know what's going on. You're going to update us on your football thing.
Yeah, I'll get that out of the way real quick. I'm in the middle of a game right now. I'm 4-1. I lost last week. That was my first loss. I think I said that last time. Uh, but I have a 90% chance of winning this game. I had some players
Yeah,
and
because we
some.
didn't talk last week, so there's like
Oh,
two
right.
weeks of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I lost my first game, so that was 4-1, and this win will bring me to 5-1. So I'm still tied for first in the league at this point, which is exciting. We're doing our fantasy basketball draft next Saturday, and I know a little bit more about basketball than I do about football, but I don't expect to do any better or worse than if I had known stuff. So we'll see what happens.
So, is it one more week left, or?
There's
Oh, yeah, I guess football goes all the way to like January, right? For
there.
the Super Bowl?
Well, I think there's 16 games in the regular season of like actual football,
Mm-hmm.
but for fantasy, it's 14 weeks. I think
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. But and then you have whatever teams make the playoffs will like play for another week or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in our 16 league.
Good luck. Let's roll for the actual stuff of the episode. Now that we got the garbage out of the way,
Yeah,
let's get
yeah.
the
I know
good
people
stuff
were super
going.
excited to hear what my fantasy score was.
All right.
2. Oh, see, you rush things, Ben. You
Jesus Christ. I think this may be the year we retire the die because that's fucking bullshit.
I'm gonna call it right now.
7.
I'm gonna say 11.
Okay. 18.
18.
Ooh, I'll just combine the two and get it. Ooh. Well, that's good though because we're at least we're at 20, so it's a 50%
Yeah,
episode, and that's all
that's
we
usually
ask
about where
for.
it lands.
So I know in the past we've had Steve's little shits. So I'm gonna have Ben's big bathroom break.
Bowel movements.
Oh, that's better. Ben's big bowel movements. So just quick things. I don't even want to talk to him. Talk about him really. But I mentioned before, but there's a American Dad episode you need to watch. You could watch it on Hulu. It was called Multiverse in the American Dadness, and it's just a multiverse Steve episode. It's just like the one. There's a Steve going around killing the Steves, absorbing their powers, and gonna become the ultimate Steve. And it's all about Haley not appreciating Steve, and Steve trying to find a Haley who loves him, and Haley trying to get Steve back so she could go to the Shaggy concert. And then there's some Principal Lewis stuff, and it all ties into. It's a really well written and thought out episode, and it's just it's American Dad. It's funny. They're on like season 18. It's crazy, and they still have such high quality. But yeah, good stuff. Ahsoka ended. I liked it a lot. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you should watch it. Even though I hear it's pretty divisive, there's a lot of people who are not. I think this is the most divisive Star Wars show. Like everybody agreed, Mandalorian's pretty good. Everyone agreed, Book of Boba Fett's pretty bad. Obi-Wan was pretty much nothing. But this is the one where I see people like, this is the future of Star Wars. Like I've said, this is the greatest thing they've done since and or whatever. And other people saying,
That's funny. And or whatever. That's
uh,
also his name.
and then others saying this is some of the worst Star Wars. It's regressing into bad shit. I don't see it. There are parts where some of the fighting looks a little stagey. Like, okay, you ran through this so many times, or maybe not enough times. It doesn't feel natural. It feels very hit this button and hit this button. And then there's other fights that are like really awesome. I think lore wise, it's interesting, and maybe you don't care too much about some of the monsters or the fights or the spaceships. Uh, it's made me want to watch Clone Wars, so I'm gonna start watching Clone. I've watched 4 episodes of Clone Wars. I rewatched the movie and I watched like 4 episodes. It's not great so far. I'm not enjoying the show. It's so boring, and it's just like General Grievous has a ship and he's gonna attack the good guys. We gotta stop him, but can we stop him? I don't know, Anakin. Can we stop him? We're gonna try. Anakin, I don't think you can. Oh wait, we did. On to the next adventure. It's pretty repetitive so far, and I know it's just the beginning, and there's like 7, 8 seasons of this, so character development will come, but this early stages it's kind of rough. And rewatching the Clone Wars movie, still the worst Star Wars thing. She's just the fucking worst. I do not know how Ahsoka has moved past as like a fully thought out character with her first appearance being just so awful. The comedy's bad and they bicker like they're married. It's embarrassing actually. Okay, and then last little shit. Uh oh yeah, the Continental
Last bound movement,
had
not little shit.
yes, yeah, I'm sorry. My big flush at the end. The Continental on Peacock. It's great. If you like any John Wick, you should watch this. It's like watching a 4.5 hour movie of John Wick. Just
I
not.
mean, they're all close to.
Yeah, if you can sit through John Wick 4, you can get through this. It's definitely not as action heavy as that movie is because it kind of has to be. This takes its time, but I think they could have taken more time. This could have been 5 or 6 episodes to flesh out some of the smaller characters. It's an interesting world with kind of cool shit going on, and Mel Gibson gets his face blown off. So there's something for everyone.
Just go straight for the spoiler. Does it lend to explain anything that may have been confusing or not really explained in the movies, or
Not
just
really.
kind of just this is
It's
just
a
this hotel?
standalone story. Here's
Okay.
a cool thing that Winston did in the early days and the early days of the Continental itself. You don't learn too much about the high table or anything. They're there, but that's why I think it needed a bit more so
Hmm.
we could learn the lore and not just go. We've been around since the Roman time. Like, okay, and doing what? Like, explain that more. Nope, we've just been around for a long time. That's all you need to know. But yeah, it's good. I wouldn't say subscribe to Peacock to get it, but it's worth it if you have it.
All right.
So yeah, that's Ben's big bowel movements. We got a lot of stuff. I got like 5 horror movies I want to talk about, and you got a smattering of other things. As
Sure.
I always kind of do a lot of watching, and you do a lot of playing and listening and reading. So thanks for taking up the whole like back 3/4 of the Whirlpool.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start?
Sure. I'll just give a quick Baldur's Gate update.
Okay.
So I have done quite a bit of work in the Shadow Cursed lands, where this is sort of your horror, gothic sort of levels kind of thing, where there's a evil shadow curse over these lands, and you have to
Is that
go.
why it's called that?
It is, and you have to. Uh, you're trying to get to the Moonrise Towers, which is this, castle essentially in it.
A
And
Moonrise Kingdom.
yeah, yeah, the directed by Wes Anderson.
I'd love to see the switch in tone. Like this section is just like through a dimension, and it's all very
For whatever reason,
twee.
there's just a kid on one of those giant big wheel bicycles.
Penny farthing. Yeah.
Anyway, and there's, it's believed that a child put a curse on the land and his name was Thaniel, and you have to find Thaniel to remove the curse. But you're also running into like shadow monsters, and you have to have a special lantern on, otherwise the shadow will like slowly eat at your health and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Is it
But
like a special candle or a special bulb, or is
it's
it
a
the lantern
special
itself?
it's a special lantern.
Okay.
I mean, you can use a torch, but eventually you get like the special lantern that kind of it spreads out the light more.
Okay.
And then, anyway, but you run into a whole slew of kooky characters. There's like one person. I'll just call them like the toll master or something like
Okay.
that, and it's just like giant golden Buddha kind of looking
Hmm.
character, and it's just like, give me gold, or you cannot pass. And so you like toss him a gold, and he's like, give me gold. It's like, no, I'm not gonna give you any more gold. Then we fight, and then you have to like fight this guy, but kill his floating head minions. Otherwise, you can't really like damage him because he's got like 600 health.
Hmm.
Um,
I wonder how much you would have had to pay for him to finally let you through.
it was just like you can well, I tossed him one, and then you could like toss him another. It's like, but one of the prompts was, well, how much do you want? And he's like, I want all you have. And so you can
Mm,
like try and lie to him and say, I don't have anything, or you just give him all your gold.
shit.
I don't, but I was like, I'm
I
not
ain't
gonna,
doing
yeah, I'm not even
that.
gonna risk doing that. Uh, so then, of course, I had to fight him, and he was kind of a pain in the ass. And then there was I found this like dilapidated bar where there was this big fat guy there who was just like, you drink with me and tell me tales. And so I had to like, it was kind of cool because it would bring up prompts of like the adventures I had been on, just like a mini thing of just like,
Hmm.
oh, this is what I did, and it might entertain him or it might not. But I basically had to have a drinking contest with him, and I beat him, and then so I didn't have to like actually physically fight him, which was nice. And his like last little bit, he was like, and he just farted, and then he was defeated. I was like, oh, there's not a lot of potty humor in this
Uh-huh.
game. Uh, but and then there was stuff behind the bar I could take, and I'm like, all right, cool. But the really awesome thing, which will be what I wrap up with, is so one of your characters, Shadowheart, she's a worshiper of the goddess of death, Shar, and she's like, I need to prove my worth to Shar, and you find that there's this temple there, this big, huge temple there, and it's like got all these traps, and they have the to prove your worth as a Shar warrior is the trial of Shar or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was called.
They sure love this Char word.
Yeah, but what was really neat about it, it was four different trials, and one was like, this is a stealth trial. So I was like, oh, I can use my rogue to do this one, and this one test your, and they had like little twists to them. And this one's to test your combat prowess. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my barbarian in this one, and then you had to like these minions that were there just transformed into your party, and they had all your same moves
Hmm.
and they were at your same levels. Like, oh, so you're fighting yourself? That's a fun little twist.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like you got to utilize all your people in different ways. And I was like, this is a really fun mechanic that I hadn't seen in the game yet. And the temple, I mean, most of the place you go, it's like kind of like crumbling rock
Hmm.
areas, but it was still like kind of beautiful and awesome that it added this element to it. And every time you got to a certain place, you had like a new piece of armor or weapon for Shadowheart to attain. So by the time you got through these trials, she was like decked out and stuff. It was
Nice.
like it was a really really cool level. Because all the other places I've seen so far are just kind of like woods and
Hmm.
crumbling old buildings or whatever. But this was like, here's your horror level, which was a nice change of pace. Um, yeah, there's some real cool stuff. That's kind of what I've been dealing with. And now I've made it to Moonrise Towers, where I've run into the Absolute's cultist followers and have to try and defeat him to save a bunch of people and all that stuff that I won't get into because it'll take forever to explain. But yeah, super fun. My character's a level 8 now.
Is there a
Uh,
max?
Max is 12, I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Is that
Um,
pretty standard for D&D, or can you
D
go
and
up
D
to?
five, the current version 5e goes up to level 20.
Okay.
I believe from what I read, they decided not to go over 12 just for game mechanic purposes
Okay.
or whatever. It would just take whatever it was.
Sure.
But yeah, my characters for the most part are at the point where they got enough moves and magical items that it's like combat is. I don't want to say easy because I definitely run into situations where they're kind of like kicking my ass.
Hmm.
But I can always like if I lose by the second go, I'm probably gonna like defeat them because I've figured out their weaknesses at this point. Um, but yeah, ton of fun. So that's where
I
I'm at.
heard something about a worm in your brain. Is there a worm in your brain in this
Uh,
game?
yeah. So the big uh, crux of the problem, why you have run into these other companions and you've all banded together because you all have a similar issue of you all have parasites in your brain by mind flayers because that's how mind flayers become mind flayers. They put a parasite in your brain and then
Oh.
you transform into this Cthulhu esque. Uh, but what's the term? Uh, Eldritch horror
Okay.
stuff. So normally it takes like 24 hours and then you're just a fucking mind flayer. But there's a magical element to why you're not changing, and it's
Hmm.
all part of the story that I won't get into. Because I really think you should play it. But my wife asked me, "Do you think Ben would like that game?" I was like, "I don't think so." But it's like I think he would appreciate every aspect of it. But I don't know if he would have a good time playing it.
Yeah, I feel I would be kind of straightforward with everything I did, and I wouldn't be as clever And oh, if you read the description of this magical item and you use it in this way that's not described, it could do all this crazy stuff. And I wouldn't be like, well, it didn't tell me I can use it that way, so I'm going to use it for how it's supposed to be used.
Mm.
And probably my playthrough would be a little dull, maybe compared to other people's. But maybe I'm selling myself too short.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And maybe you were the person who told me this, but I recently ran into a statue that was like stuck and I couldn't move it. And it was either you or maybe I saw it online, but it's like, oh, well, if you throw a grease bottle at it,
Hmm.
the grease will make it loose enough to where you
Uh,
could move it. And I was like, I would never have
yeah.
fucking thought of that. Like in the real world, like that kind of makes sense,
Mhm.
but in a video game mechanic, like
I would never.
why would
Yeah.
that work?
Uh huh.
That's silly.
That
But I greased up this statue and it moved, and I was like, that's so fucking cool that they thought of that. But
Resident
I was
Evil
never
was
going to get to that.
yeah, Resident Evil would always do things like that. Like there was, I remember, you had to examine a book and then you have to look at it, inspect it, and then open it up, and there'd be like a key inside
Hmm.
the book. And like, thank God the person I was with accidentally did it because I would have never thought I have to examine my stuff and like find it. And this is like earlier
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Resident Evil, whereas they make it a little more apparent in the remakes. But yeah, some of those sort of critical thinking things go right over my head because I was like, well, this is a video game. Can I break it with my sword? Can I jump over it? No. Well, then it's stuck there permanently, and I guess I just have to go around it.
I'm sure there's something cool. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to tell Ben about this. But I don't recall. It's
Have you found like someone in your party? Are they in love with you, or like are you growing that relationship? Because I know you said that's an aspect you don't give too much of a shit about, but has that
yeah,
gone
it's like
anywhere?
because it's there, I'm doing it, but not because like I have all that much investment in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said before that I've developed a slight relationship with Shadowheart, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I
You
can't.
just got her all this cool armor
I
too, so she
did.
better be very appreciative.
Uh, but I don't know if I'm just at a point where I've reached the limit of dialogue options in
Mm,
terms of progressing the relationship until we reach further in the story.
okay.
Because I'll keep checking in with her and talking about stuff, and she's just like, "Oh, I feel like there's something between us." I'm like, "Yeah." So you want to like,
Still, yep.
so you want to hang on? She's like, "What do you want to talk about?" Here's the 5 dialogue options that we can. It's like, but that has nothing. Whatever. Um,
Because maybe you'll betray her, or you'll have
oh,
to abandon her.
I don't know if I said this last time, but Will, who is your warlock who had made a deal with the devil, essentially, he I had zero dialogue with him that suggested I was attracted or interested in him. And whenever you go to sleep, a lot of times is when these cutscenes happen,
Mm,
and you wake up because you hear something, or like they tap you and like, "Hey, I gotta tell you something," that kind of
hmm
shit. Uh, so I go to sleep to do a long rest and regain my health, and I wake up and he's just like dancing by himself. And he's like, "Oh, do you want to dance, partner?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, man, I'll dance with you. Cool, let's dance." And so we dance and we move, and then it's like, do you want to do a fancy move to try and impress him? Do you want to, not dance at all? Whatever. Well, I don't want to look like a loser. Of course, I'm going to try and impress this guy with a fancy move, and then I roll really poorly, and I mess that up, and he's just like he finds it kind of endearing, and then we finish the dance, and we're on our knees, and we're looking at each other, and then it's like, do you want to lean in for a kiss? Do you want him to lean in for a kiss? Do you do nothing? Do you turn your head away? I was like, I can't leave this guy on. It's not right. I'm with Shadowheart. So I turn away and he's just like, oh, okay, well, thanks for the dance. And he like shovels off to bed. And part of me is like, wait, come back. But it's like, no, fuck that guy.
yeah.
I don't care.
I would
Uh,
love if, like, you just hear him whimpering in his little sleeping bag, just cried himself to sleep.
so it's kind of funny that these sort of intimate moments just kind of happen naturally, even if you're
Hmm
like not going for it.
Yeah.
And because it's just kind of funny and I want to see how it plays out, that's like, I'll go so far, but
hmm
then it's like, well, no, I'm with Shadowheart.
You need to
So
string this guy along the whole time. Make him think you're interested, and then just turn your head every
if
time.
I could, I would date all of them or uh, string all of them along, but only stick with just something. But it's just too much work to try and make everyone happy, and they've all got different agendas. I'm trying to make them happy, but sometimes their agendas go against the other people's agendas or my agenda, and so then they get mad. And yeah, it's hard being the leader of a team of adventurers who all want to have sex with you.
Yeah, it sounds rough.
Yeah, and I'm a dragon looking dude. I'm not even like a
Oh,
hot.
you're. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not even like a hot elf guy or anything. I'm just like a scaly red dragon looking guy, and then it's like this guy fucks.
Well, Well, I have five horror movies, as I said, and I'm going to tell them to you in worst to best.
Okay.
So, and you
Don't
got
break down the movie and like all that what
no, no,
happens,
no.
but
I'm just
just
simple shit, and you got stuff too. So we'll just keep going back and forth after this. But I saw Exorcist not beginner, Believer,
Believer.
Exorcist Believer. Man, is this movie fucking boring?
Hmm.
Nothing happens in it. It's so uninteresting. And I'm not a huge fan of the Exorcist series. I appreciate the first one for what it is, but I don't like ghosts or poltergeists or exorcisms in my movies all that much. Uh, so yeah, I don't care about the Exorcist series. And this one, you could tell they were just like, well, how can we one up this? Like, well, we could possess an old lady? No, that's boring. We could possess a little boy? No. Well, we already did a little girl. Well, what about two girls? And make one of them of a different race. Haha! Inclusion! Haha! Variety! And then nothing really happens through most of it. It's not very scary.
Hmm.
I think they go from normal little girls to sick, possessed demon babies real fast. And it's just fan service for the original. I'm talking about Regan, and then they bring in Ellen Burstyn, who apparently she asked for a fuck ton of money so she could donate it to like up and coming actors, like a scholarship program for
Hmm.
them because she doesn't want to do this shit anymore, but she got to get her bag. And she comes in and it's just like, oh, I know who you are. And the little demon girl's just like, yeah, you do, bitch. And then just instantly stabs her eyes out with a crucifix. And so she's blind the rest of the movie. She's like in a hospital most of it. You don't even like see her from, but they just totally bring this legacy character back just to mutilate her. It's very funny.
Definitely not getting the Jamie Lee Curtis treatment.
No, not at all. But apparently, this is supposed to be like the beginning of a trilogy, and so at the end, Regan does come back to visit her mom.
Well,
Uh,
that's the thing with exorcism. If you know the demon's name, you have control over him, right? That's why she's like,
yes,
"I know who you are." How does
yes,
she know
because it's supposed to
it's
technically be the
supposed to be the same
same
one?
one, but I don't think they ever say its name or are even 100% sure if it is or if it's just, all the demons get together and they talk bullshit amongst
Yeah,
each other and go like, oh, if you ever come across Ellen Burstyn, say who Reagan is, it'll really flip her shit. But and I and as I've said, why I don't like ghost movies and stuff is there's no rules, and this one is even worse. At least with the original, it's like Catholic priests. That's the faith. That's what you go off of. In this, you have the two girls and both families, and then multiple different priests from different religions and spiritual people. And it's like a whole group effort to get this demon out. So it's like, well, is it just one of you that's really exercising this demon? Because it can't be confined by all the religion's rules, right? So some of you are there doing nothing and just waving your smoke and
but
doing
then
your prayers.
you can't say anyone was wrong because then you're
Sure.
just the movie's saying, well, like only Catholicism is the real religion
And,
or
and it,
whatever.
it feels like one of those things.
Yeah,
It's inclusion. Everybody, we got to make sure we
but I
don't
think
offend
that
anyone.
in itself could be a real fun movie, which is like certain demons have this religion they're weak to, certain religions
Sure.
have the, or like yeah, they all work, but some it's like yeah, Christian holy water works, but the cross doesn't mean shit. But
Hmm.
then like I don't know Jewish Star of David or whatever. It's like that works, but their
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
cookies don't. I don't know if there's cookies.
I, I don't even know what you're referencing,
I'm not
but I'm
referencing
gonna.
anything. That's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about the Jewish faith.
Yeah, Jewish people are known for their cookies. That's their thing.
If I
That
was going to start a religion, I would want the religion cookies.
Yeah, like fuck the sacrament, the host that
Yeah, instead
Catholics
of
give
eating the
out.
body of Christ, you're eating
Yeah,
the body of Count Chocula. You know,
he's not a cookie. That's a cereal.
look, man,
You
you're
could
putting
say
me.
the body of the Keebler elf, maybe.
Oh yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I can't think of it. Good thing I thought of that because I can't think of another cookie mascot.
How the fuck isn't there cookie
I mean,
mascots?
there's the Pepperidge Farm guy. He remembers, but he's dead, and they haven't used him in forever.
I feel like a cookie mascot is like a slam
Yeah,
dunk.
or are we just
Oh,
really stupid?
yeah, well,
Oreo
the
doesn't have them.
Dunkaroos. Is
That's
that a cookie? Not really. We're getting off
yeah,
track
that's
here.
true.
So believers
But
trash.
it's absolute shit. we were right. The little white girl dies. But they do a little switcheroo on you. They're like, the demon's like, choose one. And they're like, we're not going to do that. And then the white girl's dad, who has kind of been like naysaying the whole time and not believing, even though these like smokes coming out of their mouth and stuff. He should be believing right from the get go. But he goes, I choose you, my white daughter. And they go, ah, ha, ha, ha. You chose for her to die, not to live. And so the little white girl dies. But she had like a little brother and sister. So those parents are good. They still have extra
Sure.
kids.
That's how
Whereas
that
the
works.
black girl's dad, she has no siblings, and her mom died like in childbirth. They could
Mhm.
only save one or the other, and the dad actually chose the mom, but complications happened and they had to save the baby.
Oh,
So,
cool twist.
and so he wasn't a big man of faith. Anywho, that's getting into too much story, but it's pure shit, and it's directed by David Gordon Green, who, like, if you look at his IMDb, he's done stuff in the past that is pretty good, but everything recently, he did all the Halloween remakes, and the first one's fine, but he just shit all over it. And I hope that becomes his legacy. I want him to take up these classic horror franchises and then just run it into the ground. I don't know what's name. Do Pumpkinhead. Let's try Poltergeist again. Just pick some random one and just drive it into the ground.
That would be that'd be a fun idea if he was just like, yeah, man, they're gonna keep turning this shit out unless they're fucking terrible. So I'm gonna ruin my career to benefit
Yeah.
cinema by just
I
tanking
kill the
these.
franchises so they don't keep making the
Yeah,
bullshit. Oh, that's smart. I
I
mean,
I
he's a little
kill
late for a lot of them,
I
but
kill horror to
to
save.
save horror,
To,
yeah,
yeah,
you got to kill what you love to
sure,
save what you hate. I do.
and then feed it cookies.
And then those Jewish
Those
cookies,
Jewish
yeah.
cookies. Yeah.
All right, so what do you got next?
I read a book. Well, audiobook. Sorry.
It's fine, Steve. In this place, you can say you read a book and
Yeah, but I
listen
want
to
to
a book.
be,
You could
clear.
just, I mean, you could say I read an
I
audiobook.
read an audiobook. Uh,
That sounds even worse.
I know, right? So I listened to George R. R. Martin's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Adventures of Duncan Egg.
Mm,
Uh, Sir Duncan the Tall is a hedge knight. Uh, for those who don't know, hedge knights is essentially just like a knight for hire. They like, don't have a lord, so they can just kind of like hop in between. And his young squire Egg, who he kind of finds on the streets of or on the way to King's Landing, where he's going to go to a tournament because he wants to win and get some recognition for being a knight. Because he kind
what
of
time period is this?
this is 100 years before Game of
Okay.
Thrones. And so yeah, he's just an up and coming knight, and he meets this young kid. He's like, "Oh, you can be my squire." Turns out that kid is one of the princes. He's a Targaryen prince.
Of course.
Now there's multiple
A
Targaryen.
pauper just can't be a pauper. No, they always had to be a secret prince or the bastard or something.
And so he kind of and you find out pretty quick because once you meet Egg, the evidence stacks up pretty quickly where you're just kind of like, this kid is too either smart for his own good, or like the things he says and does, like this kid's definitely a Targaryen. Like he has to be someone's son kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then you find out pretty quickly that he is.
Is it
Uh,
his white hair that gives it away?
or his
And purple eyes,
purple
yeah.
eyes. No. But anywho, and it's just the book is just kind of it's there are three short stories that had come out over the years, I think starting from like the 90s or early 2000s, and these three stories have just been collected into a book. And I didn't necessarily love it all that much just because I didn't find either of them all that interesting, or the adventures like the first one I really enjoyed because it's kind of like how they met and talking to the Targaryens who are ruling the thing, and then Dunk gets he defends an innocent person from one of the princes who he didn't know it was a Targaryen. So they're like, "Oh, you struck a Targaryen, now you die."
Mhm.
And then he does like a trial by combat, but the they do a twist on it where they call it the Trial of Seven, where it's like you get to pick six of your friends to fight six of my friends, and
Oh
then
shit.
if your team wins, the charge is dropped or whatever.
Hmm.
And he's like, I don't fucking know seven people, but like some people kind of like jump to his
Yeah.
aid,
Save
and
the egg boy.
and
Does he look like an egg? Tell me he's like Humpty Dumpty, but like
he
in.
looks like a kid. I don't know. Like,
Oh.
yeah, there's nothing special about him. Uh, but yeah, and then even the I think the king at the time kind of comes to Dunk's side, and there's just like this really intense battle between the seven of them. Like all that's really fun, and then the twist at the end of that is pretty surprising. And I was like, it's very Game of Thrones. Uh, but then it's just like two more adventures of like Egg is just like, all right, we want you to train Egg and show him the ropes so know how to be a knight and kind of raise him on as one of your own or whatever as your squire. And he's like, cool, but we're not sticking around the castle, and I'm not working for you. And he's like, we're gonna go sleep in hay bales and stuff, and sleep in inns, and we're just gonna travel the road, and like he's gonna get like the real squire experience. He's not going
Mm-hmm.
to get this like castle bullshit.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, all right, cool, sounds like a plan. I'll do what you gotta do. Anyway, uh, the thing I like about it though is that it's kind of nice. Dunk and Egg aren't awful people,
Mm.
and it's just kind of like their little adventures, and they run into some bad people. And Dunk's just a good person. He's not trying to ascend to the throne or like get a lordship or any of this kind of stuff. He just wants to be a good knight and do what's right. And
And fight all night till the break of light.
woo! Uh, so I think this would have been a fun thing if Game of Thrones was still running, or if you do House of the Dragon, and then you know how you and I really love when the show will divert from the main storyline and do like a separate
Yeah,
episode,
just a
just a
standalone.
standalone kind of fun side thing. Like as dark and dreary and awful as Game of Thrones, and I don't mean the season 8. I just mean like
In
it in
general.
general, its bleakness. Oh, here's a special episode, which is just kind of the sweet adventures of Dunk and Egg. Like I think that
Okay.
could have been a nice kind of
Yeah.
palate cleanser. I'm not sure if it necessarily would have fit in Game of Thrones, but
Yeah, because if it's 100 years in the past, how are you doing that? Or is that just like Bran going, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm part of the tree. Let me tell you a
yeah.
story."
I don't want to see the TV show adaptation of Dunk and Egg,
Mm-hmm.
or like a movie based on them. Not that it necessarily wouldn't work. It's just I think people expect a certain thing from the Martin verse or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the Westeros stories. But I think it would be fun to just sort of see like, okay, here's the Targaryens and they're in battle and they're all backstab each other, and then here's a fun little adventure of
Yeah.
Dunk and
I
Egg.
mean, we could probably see it in House of the Dragon. We're getting closer and closer. Like every episode jumps a couple of years, so why not by season 3? We could be close enough.
But House of the Dragon is 300 years before. All these people will be long dead before they get to the
Yeah, I by
to
the
Dunk and
time
Egg.
we get to season 3 of House of the Dragon, I don't expect any characters from season 1 to be around. We've gone from
No, you're gonna see this whole
children to practically adults of characters within like 2 episodes. I think this is the House of the
yeah
Dragon.
that
This isn't just about these characters.
Yeah, I think that's just the establishment of how we got to the war and the
Mm-hmm.
next two seasons. It's just all the characters at the end of season one. You're gonna see all those characters. They're not
Mm,
gonna get any older unless it's
just
just
a
one of
couple of
the
months, like a year.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, it'll go by years, but they'll all be the same actors.
Uh,
No one's gonna age out of their role, really.
no, no, I don't want that. I want us to 5 seasons. By the time we get to season 5, it's like
Caught
caught
up.
up.
I mean, I'm not against that. I just assume that the show is just doing the Dance of Dragons
Mm-hmm.
storyline or whatever. Anywho, so if you want a nicer adventure of simple characters who aren't trying to establish themselves in sort of sort of power struggle, Night Seven Kingdoms isn't a bad read, but it's definitely not like a must read. It's not super exciting and super deep, and I don't think it has anything really major to say. But if you're a fan of Martin's worlds, jump in. It's all there. There's a lot of talking of he's from House Blackwell, and they were related to the Blackthorns, and the
Mm-hmm.
Blackthorns came from the south, who were descendants of the Gorgon formers or whatever. It's like there's so much naming people's
Yeah, he
houses and
loves his
stuff.
family trees.
It's impressive that you've done this deep rooted work, and you know where everyone comes from and who they're
Mm-hmm.
related to and who their allegiances are and how they've changed allegiances. It's like it's incredible that your brain works that way, but it just feels like you need to throw in more words to reach a word limit. So
Yeah.
it's just like
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do everyone's fucking family tree
Yep.
every page, and
And
it's a little exhausting at some point. It's like,
every
wait, why am I learning about this? Who fucking cares?
and every character's day starts like, we started our day with a hunk of cheese and some old wine, and it's like, do I need to know what they ate every time? It sounds great. It sounds like good food. I wish I could eat like that all the time. Just a handful of bread, handful of cheese, and an apple. That's good shit.
Hop on
But
my horse and just ride
yeah,
for 8 hours.
and I've heard of these characters, but I didn't know anything about them, and so I thought it was one person named Duncan Egg. I know that character's name is Dunk. That's, I think, a worse name than Egg. I'd rather be called Egg than Dunk. That sounds like, you know, George from Of Mice and Men.
Mm.
You're slow.
Yep.
Is that correct? Is he a big dumb knight? Is he like a hound?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
I mean, he calls himself Duncan the Tall, or because I think he might have been growing up. They called him Dunk the Lunk, which I really don't remember it. The audiobooks are hard for me to retain as much as when I like actually read the books. But as a knight, he goes by Duncan the Tall. But I
Okay.
think when people make fun of him, it's like, oh, that's Dunk the Lunk, so it
Mm,
became Dunk. And
okay.
Egg is short for Aegon, and it's just it sounds more fun than
It's weird
Duncan
that
Aegon.
yeah, like your character's name is Duncan. His nickname is Dunk, and the title is Dunk and so you're like saying his full
It's
name
his full name. Yeah.
regardless. All right. So my next horror movie, it's more of a thriller, but I'm just throwing it in the five. It's fine. It's called Royal Hotel. It uh, is two girls in Australia who are on like a work visa program. They're running out of money, so they take this job in the middle of nowhere, Australia. It's this bar called the Royal Hotel, and it really only services the local people, and the local people are really kind of the miners. There's like uh, I don't want to say it could have been mining, could be construction. I can't remember. There's some sort of work crew who's in the area and they come there all the time. And they're a little standoffish because these guys are really rowdy. The girls who were running the bar before them were a lot more wild and got them all riled up. Now they're just trying to like just do their thing and the guys are, "Hey, give me a little smile, honey," that sort of attitude. And I really thought this movie was going to go down a I spit on your grave sort of path.
Hmm.
I thought there would be a rape, a murder, a revenge, and then one of the girls just tearing through this whole gang of really terrible people. We'd meet a nice guy who ended up being one of the creeps, and then someone who we thought we were a creep was actually a nice guy the whole time. And there's like little elements of that. Like it feels like it's on the verge of getting there, but it never does. So it doesn't go to complete exploitatism, and it was fine. Them not going that far, I needed something in replace of it, and there really isn't much. Good performances, but all in all, I was a little disappointed with it. I was expecting a bit more, but I'm glad I didn't have to sit through like another rape revenge movie. They're just too. I was gonna say too few. They come around a little too often. But speaking
It is
of,
your favorite genre, though.
as long as there's the revenge part,
Yeah,
if you have the rape, okay, not a biggest fan, but as long as there's a revenge part, like a girl with a dragon tattoo, like amazing,
that movie's awesome.
amazing revenge, and you can't have that revenge
The Fincher
without.
one, not the
Yes, yeah, fuck the
actual.
original ones.
Yeah.
I mean, she's good, but I don't think those movies are very good. But speaking of, quick little story, this is something I've never heard in the real world. I've heard plenty of men telling women, like, "Oh, you'd be a lot prettier if you smiled more." I was at Target, and this old lady cashier, not incredibly old, but old enough, said to this little boy, "You'd be a lot more handsome if you smiled." And I was walking out, so I couldn't like see the reactions of anybody, but I was like, "Oh my God, I never heard that said." And it's not as mean or as condescending sounding coming out from a little old lady, but it's still it's that thing that hits your ear wrong, and you go like, "Ooh, that's not right." And I'm sure it was harmless and truly harmless, and not just like, "Oh, I'm harmless, baby," that a lot of guys have, because that's always an instigator. But I really wanted to know how the mom reacted with the kid was like gave her a little smile because it could have been a fun, playful thing with
Mhm.
them, but it sounded gross, and I've just never heard the roles reversed on that. Anywho, Royal Hotel, I gave it like a C, I think.
What a rabbit hole.
What do you got
It would
next?
have been funny if you thought it was a little kid, but it was actually just a little person who just flicks the cigarette in the lady's face and just
Well,
like, hey, don't talk to me like
he was
that.
sitting in a basket, so I
So
mean,
yeah,
it could have still been a little person, but
cut that.
you brought it up.
I know. I couldn't help myself.
All right, what do you got?
I finished a TV show, a little TV show called Solar Opposites, which I know
Mm-hmm.
you have as well,
Yeah,
correct?
about like a month ago.
Yeah, sorry. Um, I finished. I unfortunately I didn't. Usually I try and watch the show in big chunks, but it was kind of like I'll watch an episode here, 3 days later watch another
Yeah.
episode. And
I think
so,
that's the best way to watch Solar Opposites, though, because when you do them back to back, like what happened in that third episode, I don't fucking know. It's so zany that you forget things pretty quickly.
but that's the. Maybe I'm just like tired of a
Well, yeah,
dad and
you
just
got
all this
dad
other stuff,
brain,
and
man.
pretty much all my focus has just been on Baldur's Gate. So I don't really remember a ton of what happened this season.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Corvo's voice doesn't bother me.
No,
Terry, always a pleasure.
always
Love
great.
Terry.
Yeah.
His favorite shirt this season, I think of mine, was Taylor's version. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. I just thought it was like
It
it's a funny.
and it's like topical. That's like a
Yeah,
new thing. That would had to have been a last minute change.
I know I didn't like the Goobler episode. Just
Except
except
except for the what are they called? The pod, the pupa. How he
oh.
like got that evil businesswoman to like change her ways, and she was the cause of all the horrible things in the world, and he actually made the world a better place for some
First
pink
first and
starburst.
pink
Yeah.
starburst, yeah. Um, and I don't really remember. I think I might have fallen asleep in the last episode, so I don't really remember how the season ends.
Mm.
But I will say that I'll say this is the weakest season for me, just because I don't care about the wall anymore.
This is
Uh,
the weakest wall season for
the
sure.
yeah, this wall season I didn't think was all that interesting. Like I like the idea of just kind of starting a frozen genocide in the
Hmm.
wall, and I find it funny that it's somehow still snowing in there. That's not how that works, but whatever. It looks cool. And developing a religion around Jesse, like all that stuff is like there's interesting stuff that's happening. It's just I didn't care about any of the characters, and now we've expanded to the backyard, and like
Mm.
that society is developing. It just seems like if this is what you want to do with the show,
Give it a
like
show.
the novelty is run its course,
Yeah.
just make it its own separate show.
Yep.
Same thing with the dude who's into Fast and Furious,
Silver.
the silver
Yeah.
cop stuff. It's
But
like
that
that
was a
episode was
great episode.
that episode was fun. I don't but I think I like that episode because it hasn't overstayed its welcome. It's
Yeah.
only been the two
Two. Yeah.
episodes, and even though that character is super douchey, he is kind of
Hmm.
endearing because
Yeah.
he's a nice guy. He
Hmm.
just likes stupid shit.
Yeah.
But that's sort of wait.
But I love his like friend that like saves him, who's just like super positive the whole time and just like I don't get that reference, buddy.
uh, but yeah, if that character disappears in that storyline, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be upset. I don't think you would lose anything from the show if you
nah,
just cut all that all together. So yeah, I think there was some fun stuff this season. I definitely laughed, but I don't remember any like standout episodes.
hmm,
And I don't know if it's just because it's been so long and I just watched it, in 22 minute span and then it's out my brain.
yeah,
So I'll just say weakest season so far. But it's still funny enough that I'll watch next season.
yeah. And I, I'm kind of glad I don't remember a lot because when I eventually do a rewatch of it, everything will still feel fresh because the
Hmm.
jokes come so rapid fire. It's hard to remember
Sure.
the best of the best. So it'll just be like I'm watching it for the first time. And speaking of tangentially, Rick and Morty comes back tonight.
Oh, that's tonight.
Yeah,
Wow.
new voice cast and everything. Can't wait to watch those end credits to see who the fuck does the voice of Rick and or Morty. Because it's weird. I've been seeing just on Adult Swim when I get home from work. It's late and they play like 4 episodes of Rick and Morty in a row. And if I'm not ready to commit to a show or a movie or anything, it's just on in the background as I'm playing on my phone. And I'm listening to Justin Roiland doing the voices. and it sounds weird now. It almost sounds like the new voices. Because when that trailer came out and Rick is saying, like, I'm a leg, Morty, I'm a leg, like that. That kind of it sounds like someone doing a Rick impression.
Hmm.
Not it's not that great. There's something off about it. But now when I'm listening to these older episodes, I'm kind of hearing that. And so am I hearing just a really good impression and I'm not accepting it because I know it's someone new? Or did they go back and redub all those episodes? So then we couldn't, like, notice? No, probably not. That's a lot of waste of time and money. But, yeah. Let's move it on. My third horror movie is VHS 85. I love
Oh,
a good anthology movie.
I know you do.
And most of them are horror, but there's some sci-fi ones too. I love a good anthology, and I would love to start a podcast with someone, and all we did was watch anthology movies and shows, and then we just rank them. That's all I got. That's all I care about. I didn't love the last VHS, which I think was 94. They really should have fixed this numbering thing because it's like one, two, viral, 99, 95, 84. It's like, it's going to be, you're really going to have to look at the year of release to make sure you're watching them in order. Not that
Sure.
that matters, they're not connected that way. But this one was pretty good. I'd say I liked all of them more than some seasons where, like, this is a great, this is a terrible one, and it's more of a mixed bag. This, I think, it's a little more even
Hmm.
throughout, even though there are some standouts and ones that don't quite hit the mark for me. So I'm just going to run through some of the scenarios with you because one of them's really cool.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, there's a through line of this. Uh, it's like a documentary about them cloning this thing, and it's called Rory, and it's able to, like, mimic people. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty solid. So the first one, I'll just call it Sniper on a Boat. There's just a bunch of friends going jet skiing on a boat, going camping, and then suddenly one person's head blows off, and another girl's jaw blows off, and they're getting picked off, and they all fall in the water or die in the boat. But then a couple minutes later, they get back up, and they're like, "How are we alive? You have a hole through your fucking head. How are you talking to me?" And like, this is nuts. We are dead. And then they check on people in the tents, and those people are dead, and they don't come back. I'm like, okay, well, there's something with this water. There were signs everywhere that said, like, don't go in the water and we're trespassing, but it must be something in the water. And they see on their RV like a Roman numeral 7 is written on it, and they're like, oh, whoever did this, we caught their truck on our camera or something. We'll hunt them down and give them a taste of their own medicine. And then it ends. And I was like, God damn it. There needs to be more to this. They better fucking come back. Because normally they have one through line story
Hmm.
and then everything is standalone. This is the first time they actually had kind of a cliffhanger and then came back later in the movie for it. And it wasn't even like the last one, too. It was very bizarre. So we'll get back to that one.
Okay.
Second one is a building collapse. There's like an earthquake, and there's a news crew, and they're trying to get out of this collapsing building, and people are dying. And then eventually there's some uh, god called Mictlan, Mictlan, Mictlan. I don't know. Some god in
Okay.
the basement that one of the rescuers was reviving. It's not my favorite, but it's all right. It reminded me of the Rotma episode in the last one.
Did it have kind of a wreck vibe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, a lot of these kind of do,
I get. Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Fair enough. I guess so.
Um, Next one is this woman doing performance art and saying how technology is bad, and there's an evil god inside technology, and she's going to use this virtual reality thing to go into this world and kill the technology god. And it all is just supposed to feel like just a big performance piece. But then the god within the virtual reality is like killing her, and in real life, like, things are ripping off of her and bones are snapping. It's kind of fun but
Gross.
kind of stupid. um And then it goes back to the sniper, but I'll save that for the end because it's
Okay.
my favorite. And then the last one is this cop is getting VHS tapes in the mail, and it's showing like horrific murders. And then like 10 days later, he finds the crime scene and it's like, whoa, someone filmed this and then sent you the murder? And like, that can't be. These people, like, from forensics, they died 6 hours ago. How the fuck did I get a tape 10 days ago of this exact thing? And so they're piecing together the clues and trying to figure it out. And it turns out one of the cops, not the cop that's trying to solve the case, but like his partner, his son has been having dreams, and he was seeing, or I'm sorry, he was seeing things through the TV, and he was trying to capture it on a camcorder and record the TV. But then he fell asleep, and it started recording his dreams, and he was having these premonitions, and he had sent a bunch of tapes, and it turns out it was his dad was doing these things, and it's pretty cool. I'm not doing it justice, but it's one of the better of probably all VHS stories. It's pretty cool. So let's get back to the sniper on the boat.
Okay.
All right.
So we have zombie people who are seeking revenge on the sniper
Yep.
who shot them for some unknown reason, and somehow they're still alive.
Exactly.
Got it.
So we open, and it's like a family gathering of some holiday or a baptism or a bat mitzvah or something. It just feels like a special event for a family.
Were there cookies?
Oh, actually, there might have been. There might have
I
been.
knew it.
So they're all just like recording. Oh, this is Aunt Sylvia, and this is Uncle Ted, and she's like playing with one of the kids, and he's like squirting her with a water gun. And you're like, oh, where'd you get that water gun? Like, oh, the people in the camper. And you look out in the street, and this camper is taken off. And so then they go inside, and they're having a little presentation, and the woman that we've been following, she's come of age, and just like everybody else in her family, they have a tattoo of a Roman numeral 7, and they have to kill 7 people to be part of this group. And so when she did it all in one shot, and she recorded her going to the campsite, killing the people in the tent, sniping all the people on the boat, and driving off. And they're all clapping, and oh, you're part of the family now. And then the cops show up. Someone sent an anonymous tip that these people were crazy and they had a bunch of guns. And then so they all start suiting up and they all get guns, and like even Fat Granny's got her own AK, and the cops break in and they're shooting everybody, and the woman has like run to her room, and uh, the cops bust in and shoot her a bunch of times, and she dies. And then she gets back up. She's like, what the fuck's going on? Takes a gun, puts it under her chin, blows her brains out, gets back up, and the cops arrested her. Well, the zombie camper people put water from the lake in the squirt gun and gave it to the kid and said, kill your sister or whoever it was. So now she's like stuck in limbo and she can't die either. And it ends there. Like, cool. And you don't know it's part of that. I told it when they said, oh, the camper, and the camper's driving off. I totally even forgot about the sniper boat people. So I don't know. It was really fun and just a cool concept. You don't understand why is it toxic or radioactive? Who knows? But
Holy water.
who knows? But it was just a fun little thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So VHS 85, I give like a B minus or something.
Not bad, not bad.
Your turn.
All right.
You got one more, two more.
I got 2 more and then our main topic.
Okay.
I finished season 3 of Only Murders in the Building. And this season I enjoyed just as much as season 1 and 2.
Paul Rudd's the body, right? He dies.
Paul Rudd is the body, yeah, which isn't a spoiler if you watch the trailer for season 3. There is a slight twist to that, but it's still true.
Okay.
Which you'll see, which you would see in the first episode. Okay. So it's not really a spoiler. It's not, he doesn't come back in the final episode. It's like, I'm alive.
Or it's like, that was my twin brother.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
Okay. It was my twin from that show on Netflix that nobody watched.
The dynamic between Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez is great as always. I wish I saw Martin Short in more stuff. Like Martin Short and Steve Martin were kings of like the 80s and 70s and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was before my time. So I
Yeah.
haven't really seen a ton of movies they were in, unless it was like cheaper by the dozen or whatever. But
Three Amigos?
I never saw Three Amigos. I
Oh,
would.
you would love Three
I know.
Amigos.
I'm sure I would. It's just I've never had the opportunity
Yeah.
to really watch it.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show like how like they throw around the term like comedy legends all the time, but these two guys I think really
Oh, yeah.
encapsulate that because even at their age, they're still killing it. Martin Short, I think, should win all the awards. He makes me laugh every episode. He is so good. And this season, they give him like some real drama to work with
Hmm.
too, because they give him Meryl Streep as a love interest.
Like
Uh,
real Meryl Streep,
the
or she?
actual, well, she's not being Meryl Streep. She's Meryl Streep as a character in this show.
Okay. Okay.
To be
Okay.
clear, but she's playing like a not great actress, which is funny because
Yeah.
she's the greatest
Hmm.
actress of all time. But the only problem I have with this show is just every season's 8 episodes, and the first seven are all red herrings and
Yeah.
whatever, and just trying to throw you off the trail, or just like, oh, there's some evidence that points to this character. It's like, oh, could it be him? It's like, well, I know it's not going to be them now
Yeah.
because it's episode 4 and there's still more episodes to go. Um, and so it's kind of like, all right, well, it's always fun to watch the show because I always have theories and my theories change as the show goes on, and not always right, but it's like once you get to episode 6 or 7, you're like, I think I can kind of see where this is going. So it's not like the hardest show to crack, but I think it does a good job of like keeping you on your toes and keeping you guessing because it
Okay.
doesn't give you everything all at once, and it
Hmm.
doesn't drop any hints of just like, oh man, there's a half-eaten chocolate here, and you saw like one character eating chocolate, or it was like in episode 1, like, all right, well, it's definitely
Yeah.
him or
Yeah.
whatever. But anywho, if you're a fan of mysteries, if you're a fan of comedy, if you're from the older generation and you love Steve Martin and Martin Short, they're fantastic. If you're from the younger generation, you're just like, I just want to see Selena Gomez's face. She's really good in it, and it's just a good mystery, good comedy. Highly recommend to everybody. Season 3 going strong along with season 1 and 2. They all blend together. The problem with the show is it's called Only Murders in the Building because the murders occur in the building they live in.
Yeah.
But now that there's been 3 murders in their building within the span of a year and a half's time, it's like how many more murders can be in this building before everyone goes, we should all stop living
Yeah.
here. Um,
That'll be the big twist by the time they're done. That somehow they're involved, and it's just to keep the rent down. Rent was going up, and they said, "Fuck this, we're gonna have some only murders in here."
yeah, and their podcast because the whole thing of the show is they started a podcast and they're trying to solve the murders because one they're solving a murder that at first you thought wasn't connected to them, but now it was kind of connected to them. And the second season, they're kind of framed for murder. And then this season, they're putting on a big Broadway show. And then one of the stars, it's like, so not only are the murders in their building, their murders all connected to them as investigators.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, are these people just doing it? Which is kind of a joke in the show. It's like, all right, you guys killed another person. It's
Yeah.
like, no, we didn't kill another person.
Is the play based off one of the previous seasons of them solving a murder?
No, but the play is a murder mystery.
Okay.
But it has nothing to do with the previous.
It's not like their claim to fame. They're getting big now. People want to do a tell-all book, and they say, "No, we want to write a play."
Broadway show.
Did they have a podcast before that first murder, or do they start the podcast because of the murder?
They start the podcast because of the murder. Because all 3 of them found out they loved listening to murder podcasts. And when a murder occurred in their building, they were like, oh, this is a good opportunity because we're so close to this.
Mhm.
We're the best people to investigate it because they thought, because I listen to a bunch of murder podcasts,
Of course,
I can solve
I
a
can
crime.
figure this out. Yeah.
So that's how they kind of formed their relationship. Because there really is no reason for Steve Martin and Martin Short to be friends with Selena Gomez.
Yeah,
But
I thought that was weird. And Martin Short and Steve Martin, they're not roommates, are they?
no.
Okay.
They're I think they're essentially strangers. Like Steve Martin was a famous actor from the 80s or 90s
Okay.
on a TV show, like what's that cop show with the bald guy from like the
Cop show. Oh.
Kojak?
Co. Uh-oh.
What? He was in some dumb
I
cop
want to
show
say Kojak.
from a long time ago,
Okay.
and that may or may not have been very good. And then Steve Martin was in the entertainment industry, but he was a Broadway person.
Oh, Martin Short was
Martin Short was the Broadway
Okay.
person. Steve Martin was the Hollywood actor
Okay.
type, and then Selena Gomez is just a person.
She's just lady.
Yeah, but I love their dynamic and their back and forth because it's just like old people and young people, the
Hmm.
odd couple,
Yeah.
but Steve Martin and Martin Short constantly going back and forth with each other is just comedy gold.
It feels
It
like a oh hello sort of pairing. You know,
Kinda,
they're not
yeah.
scumbags like Gene and wait, was it Gil and
Uh,
Gil Faison and
I don't know. Yeah.
anywho.
Anywho, but yeah, as a comedy duo, it's amazing that Selena Gomez she does such a great job keeping up with them in terms of
Hmm.
like these guys have been in the business for 50 plus years. They're legends. They're great. They've won tons of awards. And then here's Selena Gomez is like, oh, I gotta deal with these two geezers. But she's great. Everyone's great. It's a ton of fun. And I'm surprised you haven't watched it despite all my recommendations. I
I
just watch the
know.
first season. If you don't like it, don't continue the other ones. But I do question how long the show can run. I think uh, season four should probably be its last, but if it goes
Okay.
five, it'd probably be
All
fine.
right,
Any more than five, you're wasting all of our
here's the
time.
pitch for the final season. I know nothing of these characters, so here we go. So they have moved out. They've realized, okay, it's a little ridiculous that things keep happening here, and we want to separate ourselves from all these murders. So they all move out, whether together in separate places or whatever. But then another murder happens in that building, and it's just like, what the hell? We have to get him back. And they're like, don't bring us back. We don't want it. But they of course do anyways. And it turns out it's just a fan of their show and moved into that building specifically because they started listening to that show. But by the time they got there, they had already moved out and felt cheated that they didn't get to be a part of it. So then they killed someone, set everything up just to get them all back, just to be a part of the whole funness. That's my pitch. All right, second to last horror movie. It's called When Evil Lurks, a movie that got a limited release. It's from Argentina, and so it is a Spanish language film. And look, before I even get into the movie, let me tell you about a little about my theater experience. Three of us in this theater, spread out. We're a small theater, but we're spread out enough.
You and two other people.
Me and two other people. There's a guy in the. I think how this was set up, it was the handicap spots, but it was kind of a little close to the screen. And this dude is on his phone the whole time playing some mobile game. And I don't think he's even playing. I think he's just like playing ads to earn current in-game currency. So he's
Okay.
just letting it play and then collect and let another one play and collect. And the screen is as bright as it can be and it's shining on his face and he's like holding it up as he's watching a movie, a Spanish language movie that like you got to pay attention to the screen unless he spoke Spanish. He could have. I don't know for a fact. But I had to actually move a seat over so my perspective was shifted enough that a seat was blocking his big dumb head being lit up by his phone. The guy way in the back had to have been staring down at this dude's phone through the whole fucking movie.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Why does anybody need to do that? And if you're just collecting coins, turn the brightness all the way down, set it in your lap, and like look down every once in a while. But he had to hold it up to his fucking face. And then we're like 45 minutes in. It's at like one of the best scenes of the movie. And like six teenagers come in and they're all like, hey man, shut the fuck up, man. We're not supposed to be in here. Gotta be quiet. Oh, sit down. Oh, shut up. And they sit in one of the back rows and you hear them shuffling around and whispering and just like, oh my God. And then 15 minutes later, they're just like, man, this movie's stupid, and get up and leave. It was like so disruptive, and it took me out of the movie for a second. Um, but anyhow, fuck kids.
Movie theaters, man.
And I've had such a good run of not having to deal with this. This was like a late showing. It was only one show a day, and it was the last day of it showing at our theater. And they shouldn't have been out. You know, it was late enough that you would think that the security would have kicked him out by then. But anywho, movie's called When Evil Lurks. I can't remember the director's name, but he's done a movie called Terrified or Terrified, and it's a cover I've seen every time I go into the horror section of any streaming service. It would always pop up, and I'm like, that's a creepy cover, but I bet it's one of those movies that have a really cool cover, and it's a garbage movie. I'm not doing it. Well, turns out I should have been watching it this whole time because apparently that one's also very good because this movie is fucking great. Gets an A minus from me. Probably one of the best of the year. Probably best true horror movie of the year. and it is also about demonic possession,
Mm.
but it's different. It's more like a zombie or a vampire or something. It actually, the demon gets inside, and when it can stay there long enough, it'll actually birth like pure evil. But if you kill it, and there's like a set of rules, which I love, they even go through all the rules. It's like you don't say its name, otherwise it will attach itself to you. Don't use firearms to try to defeat it because it will instantly attach to you. Um,
How does that work?
it like you have to kill it a very specific way, which they do try to do later at the end, but they don't explain it. So it was like this woman was putting together a telescope made by Da Vinci or something. It was very weird, and I don't know how it works. Maybe they explained it in a line, because a lot of this stuff in the movie you get one line of an explanation about like the main character's past. They slowly feed it
Hmm.
to you, and if you miss that line, you're gonna forget some stuff, or you're gonna miss out on some stuff. So I'm thinking there was a line where she explained that this device would do something, but I don't know. But that's not important. That's the um, so, and yeah, it loves to mess with children and animals, and it just likes to fuck with your fears. One of the things they say is if you fear a deep hole, it will open one underneath you. So like don't think about, if you have any sort of fears, it's going to be used against you. So these two guys, brothers, they go in their small town. There's this guy that's possessed by this thing, and he's bloated and pustules and just like wheezing. And the guy who owns the land, that's like,
So Brendan Fraser and the whale.
but or you remember Pearl from Blade, big
Yeah.
fat vampire? Maybe not that big, but a lot more drippy. Because the guy who owns the land's like, get this fucking thing off my land. And it seems like possession is a known thing. Like
Uh-huh.
everybody is aware that this could happen. They know the rules, and you have to kind of go through a certain way. And they've made a request for professionals to come and deal with it, but no one has come. So this guy's like, "Fuck this! We're getting rid of him ourselves." And they're trying to like lift him out with a blanket, and it's just like dripping underneath and just sopping. It's the sounds and the makeup effects is disgusting. Well, they put it in the back of a truck, and then they like swerve to miss someone, and it goes flying, so they don't know where that body went. And let me tell you, this movie has some of like some extreme violence that you don't see coming. So this landowner, after he's kind of abandoned this possessed body onto the side of the road, it possesses one of his goats, and he's holding a gun to it, and his pregnant wife's like, don't kill it, you know the rules, you can't do it or it will make our lives even worse. And all the goats run away, and it's just this one looking at the shotgun, and even like gets closer and puts the barrel against his head like, I fucking dare you. And then does a little like meh, and it scares him and blows the goat's brain out. And the wife panics and takes an axe and kills her husband instantly, because like it's just gonna possess you and it's gonna torture me through it. Then gets on her knees, takes the axe, and keeps and shoves it in her face a bunch of times to kill herself. And she's like pregnant with their kid, like 8 months pregnant. And so it's now it's hopping around, it's loose in the town, and it's going into people. And there's a part with a little girl and a big old dog, and I gasped. I was shocked to see this little girl get fucked up by a dog. Like, you know, when those dogs catch rats and they shake them to snap their necks
Hmm.
real hard. It was like that. Like under a dining room table, this dog is just shaking the shit out of this little girl.
So
It's
it's like the bear scene in The Revenant, but way worse
way
because
worse.
it's
Like
just.
back of the neck, shaking it to kill this little kid. It's fucked up. So very dark, gruesome, and just a slow burn that you slow dripped all the information. The lead dude, he looked like Hugh Jackman in Logan, you know, gaunt and
Mhm.
beardy, or like Jean Valjean. So the whole time I was looking at
Any
him,
Hugh Jackman movie.
I was like, damn, Hugh Jackman's killing it. Like, no, that's not Hugh Jackman. But yeah, great. Awesome movie. I fucking loved this movie. I'm so glad I went to it. I was a little hesitant. But yeah, definitely will probably be on my top 10 of the year.
Next time I come by your house, I assume you're going to buy this on Blu-ray or
Hey,
whatever.
maybe
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It'll be on Shutter at the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
So,
I wouldn't mind because when you invited me to it, I never had really heard about it.
use your throat to swallow. Not your lungs. All right.
Zip. You invited me to see this movie, and I never heard about it. I was like, all right, let me watch the trailer. And the first 10 seconds of that trailer is the goat scene, and
Mm-hmm.
but just a shot of the goat's like horns coming over the guy's head, but it
Mm-hmm.
looked like devil horns. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but that's a really awesome shot.
Yeah.
This seems interesting. And then the rest of the trailer, I was just like, this seems really scary. Yeah, I don't know. No,
It's dark out.
yeah, you were gonna see like the 10 p.m. show. I was like, I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna be crawling into my house, being so quiet to wake my baby, just being afraid that my baby's possessed by a demon or something.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't want that smoke, and plus I had Baldur's Gate to play, so I ended up skipping it. But I do want to see it because I thought from the trailer I was like, this legitimately looks scary.
Yeah.
And now hearing you talk about it, I don't know if I want to.
Well, if you're over and it's on Shutter, I'll play you the dog little girl scene at least. Anywho, back to you.
My last thing before I'm ready for the main topic is I listened to the Spotify original series, The Riddler: Secrets in the Dark.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is the follow up to Batman Unburied, which is
Okay.
a show I talked about on here
This
before.
is the one where the guy from Black Panther is Batman, right?
Yeah, but they recast.
Oh.
So it seems like all the original cast came back, with the exception of I believe his name's Winston Duke, who
Yes.
was M'Baku in Black Panther. He played Batman in I'm just gonna say the first season, which was very much a Batman story involving him going to like therapy, and Hugo Strange was his therapist, and hilarity ensues. But this one is mostly the Riddler, and there is a someone going around murdering super criminals. So Calendar Man gets murdered, Condiment
The
King,
Calendar Man!
yeah, and but so
Was his date up?
there was some funny bits where Riddler is calling some of his super criminal buddies. It's like, hey, Calendar Man's dead. Like, or it's like, hey, you reached Condiment King. Don't worry, we'll be sure to catch up later,
Uh,
and like that kind of shit.
there's only two jokes you can make with that guy. It's ketchup and relish.
I relish the time we've spent together.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't use mustard. You can't use onions.
Anyway,
Anywho. Yeah.
so someone's killing super criminals. Calendar Man, while the Riddler was in prison, because the Riddler was featured in the first season, and I think he just goes to prison at the end. He is in prison, and he made friends with like Calendar Man. He was essentially Calendar Man's best friend, and you do get some flashbacks. It sounds like Calendar Man might have been played by Jim Gaffigan,
Oh,
but it
okay.
only lists three actors, and
Hmm.
it's Gina Rodriguez who plays Barbara Gordon, Cole Domingo. Do you know who Cole Domingo
Yeah,
is?
he was
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Fear the
Coleman
Walking Dead.
Domingo. Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo.
Yeah. He plays Batman in this one. And
Oh,
then Hassan Minaj is the Riddler. And Hassan Minaj as the Riddler is fantastic.
yeah.
I would love to see him in live action. I think he's got a great voice for it. I think he brings some interesting dynamics to this character. Or if he did a voice of Riddler in the video games, I think it would fit perfectly. I think he's found something here. I
Hmm.
think the Riddler fits him really, really well.
What about Coleman Domingo? Because I love his voice.
Great voice. I didn't love him as Batman
Okay.
because I feel like he kind of played Batman as kind of like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's got a cool guy voice. Yeah.
Uh, and he was just kind of like his banter with the Riddler just seemed kind of weird for Batman because Batman's just kind of usually very straightforward and like one word kind of guy, but he's kind of like, all right, man, come on. Let's not do this right now. Like that kind of stuff. It's like, why would you say that to the Riddler? Just tell him to shut the hell up or
You
whatever.
pulling my cape there, Riddler.
I don't really have time for this right now. I gotta go talk to Barbara. It's like, wait,
That's like a
what?
Christian Bale Cartman that you were doing.
Anywho, Mysterion. Uh, so yeah, so this is someone's killing off super criminals, and the Riddler's trying to find out who because no one cares. And there
Who
is
else dies? Sorry,
uh,
I keep interrupting you.
it's no one like major. It's not like the Joker gets killed off
Sure,
or
yeah, but
Bane.
I like people like Condiment King and Calendar
Uh,
Man.
Condiment King. Characters I forget because they're like C-list super
Yeah,
villains or whatever.
the ventriloquist,
No, I'm in really
Baby Doll or Baby Face. I can't remember her name.
no,
Okay, anyways.
whatever. And so there's some evidence that makes it seem like Batman is killing people. And it's like, well,
Mhm.
and the Riddler's like, well, I'm not ruling it out. And then, of course, he runs into Batman and he's calling Barbara because now Barbara's off the force, but she's going into the private investigator sector. Um, and so it's just the Riddler trying to solve the mystery of who this person is. And if you're a Batman fan, you know who the killer is
Okay.
relatively quick just from the way this character speaks.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
I can spoil it for you if you want,
And this is
or
on Spotify?
yeah, I would recommend listening to Batman and Buried first because
Okay.
I think that's pretty good. Although I don't, I think I didn't love the ending because it became very comic booky at the
Hmm.
end.
Hmm.
This one less so.
Okay.
It's not some fanciful thing. It's just a straight up mystery, and Riddler really does take front and center, which is a fun take on the stuff because I think the Riddler is an underrated villain. We've talked
Hmm.
about it on here
Hmm.
before,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed the season. It's only 8 episodes. Each episode is like 18 to 30 minutes long, something like that. So you burn through it in a day if you wanted
Cool.
to, or like 2 episodes a day. Uh, yeah, it's really really cool, and I think, like I said, Hassan Minaj is great as the Riddler, and they change they make the Riddler. Um, Muslim and
Oh.
a brown man, and
Mm.
they kind of play with the stereotypes, but not in a like look at me. It's just from the get go, Riddler's always been kind of a bad dude, and they give him a backstory that's different and interesting, and so it's just a fun take on the Riddler. And I wonder if it was Hassan Minaj coming in and going like, "I'll be a Riddler." But I want to do this with it, or it
Sure.
was, oh, we've always wanted to make the Riddler this character, and I think you'd be good for it
Mm.
because of
Yeah, maybe they
whatever.
picked him specifically because they
Yeah.
changed the character that way.
I'd be curious to know why they went with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun if you love Batman, if you love fun mystery
I like
stories.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Batman's my favorite character, so I'll pretty much give anything Batman a try. And I recommend this. I want to see more of this world and see other characters. Oh, the one thing I didn't mention, Killer Croc is kind of Riddler's number two in
He's
this.
like the Watson.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Killer Croc is hanging out with him and like trying to help him solve the
Uh-huh.
crime, but he is a side character. He's in prison with Riddler, and they kind of develop a friendship,
Okay.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
And he does play a small part in the overall story, but it's not like he's just kind of a fun dude to do banter with the Riddler for.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Anyway,
I
the
gotta,
end.
I gotta fucking pee. So my last horror movie, top of the list, definitely one of the best things I've seen this year. Totally Killer. A great horror slasher comedy time travel movie.
How are you going to blend all those perfectly together, Ben?
uh, it very much like Freaky or Happy Death Day. You take those big concepts like a Freaky Friday or a Groundhog's Day, and you throw a little horror slasher element into it, and there
The
you go,
comedy
boom.
comes naturally.
And it's a perfect this meets that sort of thing,
Mm,
um, which I will definitely be getting into because I also have some reviews I want to read that are
okay.
just hilarious. I'm giving this movie an A. It's
Wow.
great. The more you think about it, you'll go, well, how does that make? Well, why did the killer do this at this time? So I think I need to watch it a second time to maybe work out some of the inconsistencies, but I don't care. Like, this movie has a teenager in high school build a time machine. That's how she travels in time. They build a time machine. It's not struck by lightning as she was holding the time capsule or anything. She just has a time machine. It's based off of like her mom's. This is like not the girl who goes back in time, but her friend's mom was working on this when she was in high school, but never could get the math right, and they're both super geniuses. It doesn't matter. It's stupid, but who cares? So this is about the Sweet 16 killer. About I think they said 20. No, it was in the 80s. So it was
Is
like,
her or her friend the killer? Is this a
oh,
predestination kind of thing?
no, no, it's not.
Watch Predestination. That movie's
Yeah,
sweet.
Predestination's great.
Ethan Hawke,
Um,
baby. Anyway, go ahead.
um, it's like 30 some odd years ago. There was a Sweet 16 killer. He killed three women on three separate nights who were turning 16 and stabbed them 16 times each. and then disappeared. Nobody ever knew who it was. And then now it's years later, and the mom of our lead, she was part of that friend group. All of her friends got killed. The killer is now returned for her and stabs her to death. Very sad. So then the daughter is being stalked by the killer as well.
Mhm.
Killer stabs the time machine as she's hitting all the buttons, gets sent in the past, and has to make friends with her mom and the girls who are about to die. And they are absolute bitches. They are like the Heathers or the Mean Girls. The they call themselves the Mollies for Molly Ringwald, and they each dress as like a different Molly Ringwald character every day.
Awesome.
And they're all just terrible, just vapid and mean and just horrible.
Deserve to die.
Yes, you don't feel bad when you start seeing them get killed
Sure.
again. Like you root for the mom, because that's her whole goal. Is if I could find out who the killer is now, I can maybe go back and stop it before it happens, or I can stop it here so it never does happen. But I got to be careful because, like, my dad also went to high school with them, but I can't, like, I have to keep them apart because they don't get together until college. And if they get together now, I may never be born. The classic time
Sure.
travel sort of bullshit. And so she has to go back and the lot of the humor is just someone from 2023 listening to people from the 80s and how kind of fucked up it was, and they have no problem calling someone a retard,
Hmm.
or they had a friend called like Fat Trisha, and she's just like, gee, like you can't call people that anymore. She goes back to her school, they were the Devils, and goes back in time, and it's the Red Devils, and it's an Indian mascot, and like women smoking with children in the car, and just like there's all these things that are shown of these were the norms
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, and how that shit doesn't fly these days. It's just I thought really funny. It's kind of goofy, but I think all the performances are good. I think the costuming is great. And I'm going to go through like 6 reviews and some complaints they had, which are just ridiculous. And there's kind of a theme. There's like 3 topics that all the people who don't like this movie
I
seem to
I think I know where this is going.
probably at least one of them. Okay. I didn't put these in any particular order,
Okay.
but okay. It was slightly ruined by all the PC references all throughout, and it made the movie really aggravating. The main character calls out people for calling others fat, calls out racism, calls out homophobic people. A reporter even comments on how strange it is that men are showing emotion. It's all a bit much. Like, that's the fucking joke. And you're saying it ruined it by her calling out, like, you're upset
Racism?
she called out racism and called out fat people? Like, in my world, you should still be able to do that. Like, why is that so bad? But 6 out of 10, it's not bad, is their title. This is five
So
out of ten.
mostly positive.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. Entertaining mashup showing AI probably wrote it. Here's our second theme is AI is smarter than everyone, and then this is just a low effort movie. Because a lot of people did say there was a movie a couple years ago called Final Girls with,
Hmm.
maybe from Arrested Development,
Hmm.
uh, and there's similar things to that. Like her mom was in a horror movie when she was young and was a final girl, but never really stuck with it.
Was Thomas Middleditch in that with Malin Ackman?
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
saw Final
yeah.
Girls. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so when
I
they
didn't
go
realize
back,
maybe he was in it, but yeah.
yeah, it's like they don't go back in time; they go into
Into
the movie
yeah, yeah.
universe, and
That was good. I enjoyed that
that's
movie.
a good movie. But
Yeah.
this is not that. This is actual time travel. That's like Jumanji shit. All right, yet another example of a film that shows how unimportant writers are nowadays. This is probably from a studio during the writer strike, and gotta sow that dissent. This film, whilst entertaining enough, is quite literally an amalgamation of a whole bunch of previous films. Back to the Future, Scream, Halloween, Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay.
I You don't have to see the movie to know where the fuck does Wonder Woman come in? Is it just because it's
The 80s.
84?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay, Halloween at 79, but it's
I mean, there's a ton of movies from the 80s and 70s that
Yeah,
fit all
you could
these.
just say Breakfast Club or Revenge of the Nerds or anything, but no,
Back to the
one.
Future was from the 80s. And he mentioned
Oh, I
Back to
mean, yeah, he was in the 80s. I bet the time travel is back to the 50s, but yeah, still. Wonder Woman 1984? Come on. 5 out of 10. This is called Who is Laughing at This? If you were going to do an 80s piece of. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're going to do an 80s piece, at least devote budget to great sets and costumes. This felt like Spirit Halloween dressed the cast. Nothing really screamed 80s to me. Honestly, it pulled me out of the story. And there's another one that's very
didn't really
similar.
see a bunch many costume design issues that cause you to not enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
So good for that guy.
And this other guy who gave it a 1 out of 10, the 80s never looked so bland. When the main character lands back in the 80s, it looks just like now. No one is dressed in any cool 80s clothes at all, and there's nothing to even suggest that it's 80s. Everyone just looks like hipsters. Clearly, they had no budget for a wardrobe or just didn't care. Yeah, that's how movies are made. They just go, we don't have money for wardrobe, and even if we did, we just don't care. Show up with whatever you got. I don't know how this person could watch this movie and go, they are not in 80s outfits. It doesn't look like a parody, like a hot tub time machine. You go back and everything is like a little
Sure.
elevated, not elevated, but like enhanced to be more than you'd ever see. These are like closer to Stranger Things, and even Stranger Things feels a little like okay, that's a little too cute. It's a little too
Hmm.
80s. These feel like real, natural people who wore normal clothes, and it was just kind of like the Mean Girls who have like the big hair and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I think the costuming is perfect. It's one of the things I like the most about it because it doesn't go like, "Hey, we're the 80s." It's very subtle because you look at any time period, it wasn't how the movies portray it. Ridiculous. All right. This movie, or was this movie produced by a 17-year-old spoiled brat? This is a little longer one. This movie is such a waste of time to watch. The depiction of life in the late 80s, early 90s, they don't go to the 90s in this movie. It's like they're trying to portray. It's like they're trying to portray now in this movie could not be further from reality. I don't know what that sentence means. The snowflake who was in charge of putting this together must really believe they're smarter than everybody in the entire world. The thought that somebody could actually waste money to produce this and put it on TV makes me so depressed that I want to find them and shake them. This Hulu movie or Prime movie has got this person depressed that they want to like shake
Cause
him.
physical
Uh
violence.
huh. The constant statements made by the main character pertaining to the social observations are so one sided and quite frankly wrong that this seems more like propaganda piece instead of horror comedy. Once again, it's wrong to say don't call people fat and don't call people stupid. And then last one. No, I got two. I got two more. Okay.
Okay.
Literally 50% of this movie is the star trying to correct non political correctness from the late 80s. I mean, everything from a t shirt a guy's everything from a t-shirt a guy wears to the mascot name. I mentioned
Yeah,
that. And his t-shirt was the FBI federal booby inspector,
yeah.
and she just
Classic.
says like your shirt's problematic and his girlfriend's like I like your shirt, David. It's like that was funny at the time. That
Right.
was a clever good joke. I guess we're going back to almost 40 years to find things to be offended about now. I have no idea why we can't just have a movie for entertainment purposes only. Why does everything have to be political in some fashion? It's not political. It's not political at
They do make those movies. They're called Marvel movies and Star Wars movies.
all. And last one. I think if it toned down the goofy, nerdy sci-fi slasher 80s vibe, it would have been a lot better.
So the movie.
That's the whole fucking movie. It's like, you do a little too much time travel in your time travel movie. But the movie hung everything on the aforementioned elements, trying to duplicate Freaky 2020 and Happy Death Day, but it just came off as a lame attempt. No, this is better than a Happy Death Day. I think I like Happy Death Day, but this is definitely better than Freaky. Freaky was a little bit of a disappointment. This is really funny. There's a dumb joke that they do multiple times, but maybe you'll like it. So she's friends with her mom,
Mhm.
but she's you're used to calling your mom. You don't
Right.
call her by her name, so that slips out a couple of times, and she's just like, "Mom, Masita." How's it going? And it's so stupid, but it made me laugh. She does it like 3 times, and I laughed every time. It's just that knee jerk, Mom, Masita. It's really good. I loved it. I like the killer motivation. Even though I called it, there's a part that's so obvious where. Do you care if I spoil anything?
No, I probably won't see it.
Okay, so it happens a lot in movies where you think someone is the bad guy and they're like, me, look at me, I'm harmless. I couldn't be the killer. And then another character just like pops out from behind the wall and goes, hey guys, what's going on? And it's like, okay, well, that's the killer.
Mm.
You instantly say, like, it couldn't be me. And then you show it. It's happened before. And it was right. And I was right. He was the killer. But is that it? I'll leave that for you to find out.
Cool.
Yeah, love this fucking movie. It's
Well,
absolutely great.
You had a good week in the horror genre.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I guess 50-50.
Yeah, pretty
60-40.
55-45.
Yeah.
I got 2 A movies. I gave this an A. I gave When Evil Lurks an A minus. That's pretty good for
Yeah.
the same week. And you got a little something?
Yeah, this is just some trailers that have been released recently. I just want to talk to you about because we like trailers and seeing things and movies. Please Don't Destroy has a movie coming out called The Treasure of Foggy Mountain.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien's in it. Love Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Please Don't Destroy guys. I have a feeling this movie, like, just from the trailer, this movie seems to check a lot of the same boxes. Just like nerds and silliness and craziness ensues, and they run into a cult. It's like, well, here comes a drug trip scene that happens in all these things. But it's a formula that typically works. And just because they're new guys on the scene, I'll give them a shot.
It reminded me very much a lot of Mystery Team.
Mystery Team, or like Hot Rod. I was just about to say Hot Rod. Not to constantly compare these guys to Lonely Island, but like, there's a reason you're going to compare.
3 guys working on SNL doing kind of like standalone shorts.
Yeah. It's hard to miss. We have the official trailer for Invincible Season 2.
Yeah.
Super excited about that.
Did you, yes, good. I'm excited. That's like the 6th, so like half a month away. But did you see the footage of Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat?
I saw that he was going to be in Mortal Kombat. I've not seen any footage of it.
They released some footage. So there's, like one of his brutalities is just, sitting on his chest, like when he's pounding Mark in the face. He does this like quick little dodge where Scorpion throws the spear and he just does this little like flinch out of the way and then like zips to you real fast. And then his 2 fatalities are what he did to the speedster in the first episode and popped the eyeballs out, and the train. He holds you up.
Awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
He looks like a fun character.
So Invincible, one of the shows that I wasn't sure what it was going to be like, and then was just blown away by the first season. And then I kind of it's been 2 years since it came out. Yeah. It's been a long time. And so like I've kind of forgotten about it. And then you and I watched the Adam Eve episode, which was fucking great.
Amazing.
Which just got me excited for season 2. So it was very smart for them to do that special.
But it's only going to be 4 episodes.
It's only 4 episodes a season?
Well, no, it's 8 episodes, but it's 4 episodes now, and then 4 episodes in like March.
Lame.
But then they said season 3 will come a lot quicker, so it could even be as early as end of 2024, but probably 2026 or 2025.
From A24, we have The Iron Claw. Did you watch that trailer about the family of wrestlers with Zac Efron?
I started, and then I went, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think this trailer like blew me away by any means, but I find it, I would like to give kudos to Zac Efron because I feel like he's definitely trying to do really interesting, dramatic roles. Yeah. And the fact that this is based on a true story and all that stuff, I think he's trying for an Oscar. I don't think this will be it.
No.
I think he's putting in the work to do it in terms of like, it seems like he's transforming his body in this movie. And it doesn't look bad. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think it's going to be as good as it should be.
But I mean, you watch the trailer for The Wrestler and you go, and who cares? Like, I was excited because I like Darren Aronofsky, but I don't think it's that dynamic of a trailer. And I think it's going to be similar.
Yeah, but I think the trailer for The Wrestler wasn't all that phenomenal, but I did like the movie.
That's what I mean. The trailer's not that interesting. Movie's great.
Fair enough. We have a trailer for Monarch: Legacy of Monsters.
Didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
No.
You don't need to. I think that there's a couple shots that is like, oh, that's a very cool shot. Like, I think these Godzilla movies have done a good job of like looking really great.
Yeah.
But then the story kind of falters. And just from the trailer, there's so much human stuff in it. It's
that's the worst part.
Because they don't want to reveal all the stuff. Yeah. Like, there's hints of it, but it's like, it's just all humans talking about like, oh, we gotta just figure out, there's these things coming, like humanity's not gonna survive. We're gonna need backup. and then just like glory shot of
Yeah.
Godzilla. Yeah, the trailer did nothing for me. I think it's gonna be real boring to get to like one cool action
Well, here's
sequence.
hoping that they're just saving all the good stuff.
I'm hoping.
But hey, I'll watch it.
And lastly, we have to talk about it. Wonka trailer. No,
And
I know
hey,
how you feel about Wonka.
after watching that second trailer, it will either be the biggest surprise of the year or the biggest piece of shit. There's going to be no in between. No, oh, that was all right.
I think it'll be in between. But the real last trailer I want to talk about, Scott Pilgrim. Did you watch that?
Oh
They dropped a
yeah.
trailer for that.
No, I didn't watch it because I don't care about seeing a trailer for it. I'm gonna watch this. I don't need anything like spoiled for me.
I don't really think there's anything spoilery, and I think you just get little hints of. We already kind of know the story just from
Yeah.
seeing the movie, but just visually, the music in the trailer, it's all cut. It doesn't really show you anything other than the animation style, and it just looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks so good, and
The cast is
the
all back,
whole cast is
so
whole bag. I can't wait. I think it looks awesome. I hope it's not. I I'm guessing it's just a complete adaptation of the actual comic book, so there'll be a
yes.
lot of things that differentiate from
Oh
the
yeah.
movie, which I've only seen the movie. I'd like to read the comics, and I've just never gotten around to it.
Didn't I let you borrow?
I think you did, but you only had a couple at the time.
No, because I mine's a complete
I
set.
don't know. I
I
think
mean,
I read the first one and then just never read the other ones.
maybe.
But anyway, either way, it looks great. Sounds
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. Good times.
When is that
Scott
coming
Pilgrim.
out?
November, I want to say. I could be wrong. Or January 2024. Who
No,
fucking knows?
I thought it was like October, but
I'll tell you right now. November 17th.
oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. So I guess we got a main topic, kind of. I didn't mention it up top because I don't know how much we'll actually say.
We'll see.
But we're going to talk about Wheel of Time season two. Shit, I don't even know where to start on this one. You
Well,
want to start?
let's go with for anyone who may not have gone back to when we talked about season one. What'd
Mm-hmm.
you think of season one?
I love season one. I was very impressed. I liked all the characters. It was a world I was unfamiliar with, but it's not so different that you can't understand what's going on without intimate knowledge. I was into it. I was excited and hoping like this can be the next Game of Thrones. You know, people. Hopefully, it's the thing that people will jump onto, and I'm surprised it hasn't. I mean, you got all these like badass women. I figured like you would hear from a lot more women in the world going like, "Hey, do you want Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, but you want like less dudes in it? This is your thing." But I'm not hearing anybody talk about it, and it's a shame because this season kicked ass.
Yeah, and you and I are not. We have not read the
Nah,
books, so
too
anything the
many
show.
books. Don't care.
So anything the show does, whether it deviates from the source material
Don't
or
know.
sticks with it, we don't know. We're just talking about the show
Yep.
and what we think about the show and how it
Hmm.
provides the story.
And if it's something I haven't read, make all the changes you want. I don't give a shit. But if it's something that I care about, don't you fucking dare change anything.
Yeah, it was interesting that this show came out because I feel like, and I could be wrong about this, it was this, House of the Dragon,
And Rings
and
of
Rings of
Power.
Power all within a span of like 3 months or so,
Well,
six
two were at
months.
the same time. I think it was
Rings of Power and House of the Dragon were at the same
at the
time.
same time, and this came out
I think
like right before
right
it
before, yeah.
because Rings of Power is also on Amazon, so
Hmm.
it was like that ended. That then
Yeah.
Rings of Power picked up.
And it kind of seemed like, all right, we're going to do both because we want both these properties, but obviously we're going to throw way more money at Lord of the Rings because that's an
Yeah.
established property.
Hmm.
So kind of season one, I thought I enjoyed season one there, but it definitely looked cheap in comparison. Like that's the problem with
Sure.
some fantasy shows because you need to throw so much money at it to
Hmm.
make it feel like look good, unless you're Peter Jackson who can stretch a budget or whatever and
Yeah.
make New Zealand come alive.
Hmm.
Uh, but anyway, uh, I enjoyed season one as well. And going into season two, I was like, I even though I enjoyed season one, if season two doesn't hit, I probably wouldn't come back.
Uh-huh.
But I think season two is even better than
Oh yeah.
season one
Yeah,
by
yeah.
far.
It's the classic. Our heroes are separated. They're at their lowest point, will they get back together? Those are always like Star Wars Return of the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
The characters are scattered. Han's taken. Luke loses his hand. It's like such a downer movie, and a lot of the times those downer ones are some of the best shit.
Yeah. I think this season provided a lot of interesting places for like all of our characters have been scattered, like you said, and they're all doing different things, and how will they come together and converge to stop this, great evil? How will
Mm-hmm.
these characters connect with the new characters that you establish? And dealing with the events from the end of season one, the events of season one being uh, the Egwene and Nynaeve are going to go to the White Tower and learn magic from the
Uh, uh,
Aes Sedai.
yeah.
And Rand is his. Everyone believes he's dead because he went and banished the Dark One, who you find out wasn't the Dark One, but one of
Mm-hmm.
his lieutenants.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's kind of in hiding, and then Perrin is off doing wolf shit, and Matt, who kind of abandoned his friends due to
Being
real
addicted to the knife, right?
being addicted to the knife, but that was just a right around because the
Actor
actor
left.
left the show while they were still making it.
Mm-hmm.
Won't get into that.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
But did you notice? Because it took me about half an episode to go,
that's not the
oh,
same
that's not
guy.
the same guy.
They,
But they got that crappy little beard and mustache, so that works.
they look very similar.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I think that's all the characters, right, of the main crew.
Yeah.
And then of course Moraine and Lan,
Yeah.
who I thought was like maybe the weakest stuff of the season because
Fuck
I don't care about them all that
Fuck her.
much.
She is the biggest C bomb that whole season. She is so rude, so mean. And any chance, like, she can bite her tongue and say nothing, but she chooses to be such a turd. I don't care about her getting her powers back. I don't care her helping Rand, find become who he needs to be. She sucks. Fuck her. Fuck Lorraine.
Yeah,
Moraine or Lorraine?
Moraine.
Moraine.
I respect the concept of I need to do not really respect, but it's I need to do things that I don't want to do in order to save the world. I can get
Yeah,
behind that, but
I get it.
the trope of I need to treat the person closest to me like shit because I want to push them away so they
Hmm.
don't get hurt
Yeah.
is like I hate that trope because
Hmm.
all right, well you're being rude to just be I mean, I know why you're doing it, but if you just had a conversation like, "Hey man, like I know you're going to follow me to the end, but talk it out or just say, you know how powerful I am?
Yeah.
I'll cut your legs off. You'll
Hmm.
still live, but you can't follow me. Something." But this
Yeah.
whole like, go get me a sandwich, bitch, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
Or
he's like,
get someone else to saddle my horse. You're so weak, I may slip.
yeah, it's like,
They're doing the Harry and the Hendersons method of it, where it's like, yeah, you love them, but you throw rocks at them so they run into the woods.
yeah, there's stuff this season I didn't like.
Yeah.
Just because my biggest complaint from the season is just it wasn't the fun season.
Hmm.
Just in terms of like none of your main characters are really together, so there's none of that friendly banter or romance of it or
Hmm.
anything. The only real romance you kind of get is a little bit of Rand, but we'll get into that.
Hmm.
And then not a romance, but the relationship between Lan and Moraine. And once that's broken for 99% of the season, it's like,
Hmm.
well, this is a fucking drag to watch because they're
Yeah.
constantly just like arguing or like upset or depressed at each other.
And they're not
Which,
even in like a romantic
yeah,
relationship because he likes Nynaeve, which I totally forgot that was a thing.
yeah, I don't love their
Yeah,
thing
I don't
either.
buy
I
their
don't buy it,
chemistry.
but whatever. So moving on from them, we'll talk about them when we get to the last episode, probably. We have Perrin, whose stuff I found interesting, but I liked more of the people around him
Mm.
and the events that were unfolding around
Like
him.
the women or the
The,
black dude.
the women, the black wolf guy, and even the team of like mercenary warriors that he was hanging out with in the
Hmm.
beginning.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
forget
yeah,
how he ended up with that group, but
yeah.
we're not experts on Wheel of Time.
No, no. I mean,
Uh,
someone got their face like stuck through a spike, and then he wasn't with them anymore.
yeah, but I liked Perrin joining up with this group, and they just like kind of brought him in, and he's I guess good with a sword or an axe or whatever, and they're like trying to solve uh crimes in the area or
Yeah, using
whatever.
his like Batman detective
Wolf power.
vision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, oh, there was a murder here. Oh, let me rewind it a bit. Oh, let me zoom in on this evidence.
Uh, but then that group quickly disappears, and then there's a kind of like side wolf story, which we got hints of in season one,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a little bit more development, and kind of gets a wolf companion, which we'll get to something with that in the finale. But I wish that relationship was built on more because I
Yeah,
don't. Here's the other thing: I don't remember any characters other than the main six characters' names or
yeah,
seven characters'
yeah.
names. Any other
That's pretty
character,
good though. Seven characters
yeah.
is a lot
But
of
it's like
names to
Game of
remember.
Thrones really got you to know who everyone was, who they were connected with,
Mm-hmm.
why everyone was doing what they're doing. Like, I don't want to constantly compare Wheel of Time to Game of Thrones, but there's only so many things you compare
Yeah,
Wheel of Time to, and it's just, it's like, do you know who Marin Trant is? Because I know who
yeah,
fucking Marin Trant
yeah. The
is.
pervert.
Barris and Stelmy, I know who Barris and
Yeah,
Stelmy is. It's
the
like all these,
pervert. No.
yeah,
All of them are.
yeah, all these like B tier, C tier, even some like occasional D tier characters. You
Mm-hmm.
remember their fucking name.
Nah.
The B tier characters in the show or A minus character, no fucking clue what their
Yeah.
name is. There's
Yeah.
so many Aes Sedai, and they're
Oh, I know.
front and center,
And
and
they
have
got
like,
crazy names.
and they have like an hour of screen time. No idea what their name
Yep.
is.
It's like what's the name of the one that has the two warders or
Yeah,
wardens?
what are the wards' names?
No
No,
idea.
no clue.
No, no. What about Jawline Joe? The
The
red Aes Sedai who's evil.
don't know her name.
Nope, she's just the red one.
They said her name a bunch of
A
times
ton of times.
and never clicked with me.
Nope,
And I don't know why that is.
I'm
Uh,
not good with names, as you've probably heard from these mini episodes. I'm not good with names.
And I think usually this kind of show inspires me to go like, well, part of me doesn't want to go to the source material because
Yeah.
I would actually like to read these at some point in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But another part of me is like, well, I want to go to the Wikipedia so I know who the fuck all these people are.
I had to watch this show with subtitles because they would have a string of words and I would not be able to follow it. Like, was that a name? Is that a place? Is that a spell? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So yeah, I watched it with subtitles, and I still can't remember anyone's names, and I read them.
Uh, but so continuing on with Perrin, he does rescue a girl after his band of warriors gets attacked in this village, and they kind of take over the village and take slaves and all that stuff.
Yeah,
He
the fingernail people, right?
he is yeah the fingernail people. He escapes, but then comes back to the village for whatever reason and finds this woman and is like, well, people shouldn't be in cages.
Mhm.
You're free.
And
And
it's the
so
people who attacked him in season one, the religious
the
people.
white cloaks or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and their mission, I forget what their mission is,
Nah,
but they're
religious zealots,
religious paladin warrior kind of people, whatever. Um, and
We're the best to talk about this show. And why did this happen? Don't fucking
but
know.
it's an honest thing. We're not
Yeah,
faking it. We're
no.
not like looking at all this
Oh,
up. So
yeah.
you guys, either you're with us or you're like, oh well, hit us in the comments and go, well, that's why they're doing this.
Yeah,
'Cause-
that'd be great. Yeah, you're not here to hear expert analysis.
honest
This is
opinion.
just a me and you
Yeah.
conversation.
This is normies talking about. This is how you and
Yeah.
your buddies at home would be talking
And
about.
so you're sitting in the booth behind us as we're at a Denny's late night talking about this stuff, and you're just listening in. That's the relationship we have here with the listeners.
Uh, so yeah, he saves this girl, and turns out she is a badass warrior. And I really dug her, not in
Mhm.
terms of like her character, because you don't really get a ton of it,
Yeah.
but I want to know more about her people and why they are the way they are. And
They all like I'm very sad for this thing. Now beat me up.
yeah, well, it's like I don't know if she has powers or if
Yeah.
she's just a really trained warrior.
Yeah,
Because
like
she fights off like 10
we had
trained,
20 guys and they couldn't even take her down.
and I thought that scene was pretty awesome.
Mhm.
But yeah, then she runs into two other, and they seem to be from like the sand dunes area. It's very kind of
Yeah.
like Mad Max warriors.
It feels like Dune. They kind of look like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
kind of Mad Max versions of Zendaya's characters.
yeah. I mean, not that
people.
they're in like leather clad stuff or whatever, but it's just when it comes to sand stuff, it's like Dune, Tatooine, and Mad Max.
Yeah,
So
those
that's
are
what-
your options.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they like speak with sign language, and then they beat each other up because the other failed to be there to defend her
Mhm.
captain or whatever. So like, there's societal stuff there. That I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. But we
Mhm.
have no fucking clue where they're from, or like why they live this way, or
They
where they.
should just have a little runner at the bottom that says "Read the books." Like we're showing you a little bit to appease the fans, but we're not
Yeah.
going into this. Read the fucking books.
So anyway, that's Perrin, And then we have uh, Nynaeve,
Yeah.
who is a professional.
Toilet scrubber.
I was gonna say, well, Moraine's the bum of the season. Nynaeve is the angry person at
Yeah.
everyone, whether
Yeah.
it's deserved or not,
Mm-hmm.
which also isn't my favorite trope because if you
Sure.
spend an entire season being angry, even though it may be justified, you're kind of like, well, you're not fun for me to
Yeah.
watch on the show. Because Nynaeve is now this super powerful uh, magic user, but she's afraid to use her powers or like she hasn't quite mastered it yet. And so like, well, I guess we'll just throw you in this challenge that kills a bunch of our people, but you'll probably be fine because
Yeah.
you're this is the only way to like summon your magic or
Mm.
whatever. Which I thought that stuff was interesting
Yeah.
because she has to go through these gates and they show her her three greatest fears, and if she comes back through the hole,
She passes.
she passes the test and she's now ready to
Hmm.
ascend to be an Aes Sedai because they all go through this challenge and everyone's fears are different, but her fears, other than the last one, are like really tame.
Yeah. The first one I remember being very, very doable.
Yeah, because she like goes back to her hometown, and because we haven't in episode one, within 10 minutes, all those people are pretty much dead in that
Yeah.
big attack. Like we never establish anyone's relationship other than our main crew. So the only person from season one she can talk to is Rand's dad.
Yeah.
Is the only person we as the audience go like, oh, we must be in the Two Rivers because she's talking to other people. It's like, who are these people? Why do we care? It's like her going, oh, well, they're sick. I need to get back to Two Rivers. As the audience, I'm just
Hmm.
like, well, no, you don't, because you don't even fucking know who these people are, because I don't
Yeah.
know who they are.
Yeah.
So that didn't really work for me. And then the second one was,
Her being in the basement, right, as her parents are
oh
killed.
yeah, yeah, her parents getting killed. Where I understand you want to save your parents, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like you have to know this is
Yeah.
fake.
Oh, but maybe if
And
I
I know
save
she's
him
like
this time.
and I know she's like kind of enveloped
Yeah.
in the magic of it all. So some of it feels real, and it's like, but you're still like a tiny little girl, and you're gonna fight off Trollocs or whatever
Hmm.
it is. It's like, all right, come on. So I didn't really buy that one either. And then the third one, that one did work for me because she lived an entire lifetime.
Yeah. Or at least like 6 years because she had a
Yeah,
child.
yeah. She fell in love with Lan and had a kid with him, and then
Hmm.
Matt became successful and Perrin, and like they were all
Hmm.
just like a big old family who hung out together, and it was like beautiful. And so like she spent years in here falling in love with
Hmm.
the thing, and then has to go through the whole and like
Yeah.
her holding the child and going through, and it's just not there. Like
Yeah.
that shit worked for me.
Yeah.
Uh, so
But because we're not experts, she got a door earlier than that,
mhm.
and she didn't go through it. But then she gets a do-over door, or was that first door not a real door for
I
her to come back,
I I think yeah, the
or
show
just
doesn't.
magic? Magic needed her to
Yeah.
come back, so they gave her another chance.
Uh, I think the first one was kind of like she could come back, but we don't really want her to. But then the second door, she could come back. But also, I feel like that first door probably should have just been a fake, and she should have been through that second door. It shouldn't have been hours later. Where like she failed the test.
Mm-hmm.
It could have just been 10 seconds later. It's like, oh no, she she went through all of that.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't have been a time
Yeah.
gap in between.
Yeah, because
But
they
it's
made it
magic, and
seem like she was gone from the show. She
yeah,
was going to be trapped in the mirror dimension, and we would never see her again.
and all of season three would be getting her out of
Yeah.
there or something. But no, she just stayed in there for a couple extra hours while
Yeah.
Nynaeve was sad because she thought her friend was dead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so let's move on to Rand.
Okay.
Because I want to save the best for last, in my opinion. And
Okay.
maybe you'll feel the same.
No,
Uh,
I do.
okay. So then we have Rand who's doing Rand shit. Rand discovers he's a dragon reborn at the end of season
Mm-hmm,
one,
mm-hmm.
and Moraine's like, everyone's gonna come for you. You should go into hiding until we can figure out some sort of plan. So now he's just like living in this village and working at a mental home.
Slowly working his way up the ranks,
Yeah,
manipulating guards so he can be the one to talk to.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the guy who thought he was the
the
dragon.
dragon reborn from season one,
Yeah.
who he wants him to train. Rand wants him to train him in the ways of like, how do I use the magic so I don't
Mm-hmm.
kill all of my
Yeah,
friends?
like evil Yoda.
Yeah. And
This guy may be my favorite actor in the show. I think he really sells crazy.
yeah, I think he does a great job of selling crazy, but in terms of like his character, and I think he plays a big part in the rest of the books. I could
Yeah.
be wrong about that.
He's
But
not dead by the end of season 2, so
yeah, but season one, he was just kind of like a background character,
mm-hmm.
and then in this one, he's
Just
once
someone
again,
to show the power of the Aes Sedai and how good they
yeah,
are.
and then in this one, he's just kind of also he like both feels important and also not. It's just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
we have to have you here
Yeah.
almost. But Rand's got a hot new lady that he
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
lives in above her bar or whatever, and
Yeah.
they hook up, and things seem copacetic. But then it turns out she's actually an a Forsaken,
Yeah.
and
Which I feel dumb not
yeah,
putting it
because
together.
there's a scene where Ishamael, which I only know because
Mm-hmm.
I looked some stuff up.
Yeah.
The lieutenant from season one, who we thought was the Dark One, he has resurrected a Forsaken. A Forsaken are just super powerful ring wraith type
Mm-hmm.
characters who they have different powers and they're super powerful and scary and whatever. And her power is she can enter your dreams
Know where you are and fuck
fuck
with
and
you.
fuck up all your shit.
Yeah.
Um, and I really liked her character.
Yeah.
I thought she was interesting and scary, and just her like getting information from a person like, all right, cool, thanks, and then just like disintegrates their head instantly. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing with this show. Sometimes the violence is so shocking that
Yeah.
it's this violent because it doesn't ever feel it.
Because it's a lot of like magic swirls that blow you against a wall
Yeah,
and not throat
it's
slits.
in this weird realm of it kind of looks and feels like a CW fantasy show, but then also does this like Game of Thrones style
It's
violence.
between Lord of the Rings and Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
it's sexy at times, but doesn't get nudity.
No.
It gets cursy, but isn't like dropping c words and f
Mm-hmm.
bombs all the time. It'll do enough to make you go, oh yeah, this is an adult show, but never enough to make you go like it's an HBO show,
Yeah.
and it's never too soft to go like, well, this is for teens,
Yeah.
even though it could easily have been a teen
Oh,
show.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I could see this playing after what was that Bones show, that City of Bones, the
sure,
did you know what I'm
I know
talking
what you're talking.
about?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think it's called City of Bones, but
yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Immortal Instruments,
No, Moral Instruments. That was the one with the
the moving
cities, moving
cities.
cities. Yeah,
That's Mortal Engines.
Mortal. Who the fuck cares?
I think it was Immortal
There.
Instruments because there was a movie and it bombed,
Yeah.
and then they turned it into a TV show.
Hmm. Anyway,
Anywho,
yeah. So that's the weird part of the show. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't quite know
yeah,
what realm in terms of viewership it wants. But anywho, and then Rand has to do Dragon Reborn shit and
mm-hmm.
go to this city and proclaim himself the dragon. And if he does that, then the Great War will start. But if he, they're also afraid if he does that, he'll get killed by Ishamael and the Forsaken and all that stuff
Yeah.
and yada yada
And
yada.
if Ishmael isn't the bad guy, why did? Because at the very end, evil chick kills him and betrays him, right? And then like we'll do it when you're reborn again. Doesn't she say something about
No,
that?
well, no, she doesn't. Well, she betrays in the sense like she was happy that Rand won, but
Uh huh.
like Rand and the team defeat him
Yeah.
on their own.
Okay.
Um, but I had to look this up because I wasn't 100% sure what his thing was or why he cared so much for the Dark Lord. He just wanted to die and not be resurrected. So that was his whole mission. It's like
Oh.
the Dark Lord will allow me to die and not come
Okay. Oh
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Like that was
remember
his whole thing.
because his friends put him in like a stasis almost, and he was conscious and awake, but he
Hmm.
couldn't do anything. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, because in this world, rebirth and reincarnation occur,
Yeah.
but he's like, I don't want that. I just want to be nothing
Yeah, but so
forever.
what happened to him at the very end? Didn't she kill him?
No, the Grand stabbed him, and then he
Was it?
disintegrated. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
There is a thing at the end, but not with him.
Okay.
But anyway, um, so yeah, Rand is like his stuff. I thought was like kind of interesting, but I think the actor is just the least like has the least personality. I don't think he's
Yeah.
a bad actor or anything. It's
Yeah.
just his character is just I don't know what's going on, and no one's helping me
Yeah.
understand.
And I'm
Uh,
gonna get mad about it. I'm accidentally gonna set something on fire.
so I think I'm glad they paired him up with uh,
Matt,
no
or
the woman
yeah.
character name I've forgotten. Lanfear.
Yeah.
Lanfear was her name. Well, her villain name was Lanfear. I forget
Mm.
her human name or whatever. Uh, because she had tons of personality, and I thought
Yeah.
she was fun, and their relationship was like both cute and
Sexy.
and sexy and endearing. So even when you find out she's evil, their back and forth is fun because
Hmm.
she's still in love with him
Yeah.
because she's in love with the Dragon Reborn, no matter what he looks like. I
Yeah.
guess. Thank God the Dragon Reborn always comes
He's
back
just
as
a
a
beautiful man.
total
Yeah.
hunk. Yeah, so I think it was smart to put them together. And then lastly, the best character of the
Well, we didn't
season.
talk about Matt.
Oh, we didn't talk about Matt. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
He finds a girl in a wall, or actually a
yeah,
hole in
who was a
between his
girl was
cells.
in season one who I totally forgot
Was
about.
she?
She was in season one, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, Moraine goes to her, like she has the kids with her, and they go to this bar, and she's working the bar, and she sees a vision, and she's like, Moraine, wah, wah, wah. I don't remember all the details. So anyway, yeah, you find out Matt is alive, and he's been captured by the Red Aes Sedai lady, and she's testing him to see if he'll go after the knife again because there's something about this knife that keeps drawing him back. But he's essentially off drugs now. He's clean. He's done his rehab in this place, and this woman on the other side of the wall. And they decide to escape together, even though they're kind of like let free. And you find out that that woman is working for the Red Aes Sedai, and she's like, well, blah 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 blah. Hilarity ensues,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and Matt is trying to avoid his friends because he's embarrassed that he left them behind and betrayed them.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and then he gets taken to the Falm was the name of the city,
Yes.
and because the bad guys are trying to use him because they think, well, he's going to pick up this knife and he's going to kill the Dragon Reborn with it, and so he will do our dirty work for us
Mm-hmm,
because he can't help himself. He's a fucking loser.
mm-hmm.
So his stuff wasn't all like Matt's probably the best character in terms of like he's the most fun to be around,
Mm-hmm.
but his stuff so far in the past two seasons has just kind of been like just
Whiny.
whiny and
Yeah.
surrounded by the night. It's like, oh, I'm a loser.
And he doesn't kill Rand, but what does he do?
He, we'll get to it. Let's just
Okay, let's get the last
because
character before the
yeah,
culmination of all of it.
because we're pretty much talking about episode 8 at
Yeah.
this point. Um,
There's
lastly,
stuff, there's things. They have to strain
it all
some
comes
toilet
together.
water and drink it, you know.
Normally we can go back and forth across the season because they're all together
Yeah.
and talk about whatever. But this is like we need to talk about them separately so we can talk about them together.
Yep.
In my opinion, we'll get to the best character this season, which is Egwene, who I think last season was always kind of in the shadow of Nynaeve and Rand. It's like my boyfriend's the Dragon Reborn, and my
Mm-hmm.
best friend is like the greatest
Aes
female
Sedai.
future Aes Sedai
Yeah.
of ever. And I have magic, but I'm just kind of like here.
Mm-hmm.
Where this season I thought she was great.
Yeah.
The first few episodes, it's kind of more the same of just in the shadow of Nynaeve, not being as
Mm-hmm.
good as her.
But there's a purpose to that.
Yeah. They're both at the tower. They're training at this tower, but you never see them really like go to school.
No.
It's
Because it's
just
like you have to do years of menial labor before
yeah.
they even begin to look at you.
It's like if there was some sort of Mr. Miyagi-ness of it, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, scrubbing this with your hand
Yeah.
teaches your hands to move in the proper way to cast the water spell or whatever
Sure.
shit.
Them having to strain all that like disgusting liquid and drinking, it's like, we don't waste anything around here. You have to keep straining this until it's so good. If you're bad at it, you're going to be doing it for a long time. And that would just be part of the training.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like, nope, just scrub our toilets until we decide you're ready to learn magic.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so the first few episodes of the season with her aren't the best, but at least they pair her up with the princess, who I thought was a kind of a fun addition.
Yeah, like after the first 5 minutes of her, she like comes in like, "Hi, I'm very rich, important girl, and everything here is stupid and ugly. Just look at all your stuff. It's so stupid and ugly. Oops, I was a total bitch. Let me be a nice character now." It's like she's insufferable for the first few minutes, like this fake nicety, and like I'm so out of it. I don't even know what rich and poor are. Like it was really frustrating. But then she just on a dime goes like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm supposed to be like your best friend and a character you could bounce things off of since you
I don't
don't
know if it
have
would have been better
any."
if like she came in like a normie and they developed an honest, earnest friendship, and then she discovered, oh, you're a princess who's
Yeah.
actually rich and has connections to like a grand army or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like that could play in the future. It's just like, no, I'm important, and like
Yeah. Don't
I'm
you know who I
the audience is
am?
gonna hate me for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then I'm back to like, oh no, we're cool. And it's
Yeah.
like, all right, fine, like
And,
it,
and I'll forgive a pretty redhead. You know,
sure.
they can spit right in my eye, and I'll be like, yeah, they were getting a little
Ben, no one wants to
dry.
know what freaky stuff you're into. Uh, but so eventually, you the red Aes Sedai lady, uh, chins and cheekbones, I like to call her. I don't know because she has a very strong face.
Yeah.
She betrays them and captures them and sends them to the fingernail people uh, from the Falmanese or
But they're
Falmeranians,
not
whatever.
from fault. Like their people maybe were from there many years ago because they're coming back saying, "This is our land.
They've
You
conquered Falm or
yeah."
something. Yeah,
But they're from like across the sea, so
yeah.
they're the crazy foreigners.
Which costume design wise, all their costumes fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Really love the costume design this
yeah.
season. Anywho, so Nynaeve and redhead girl name once again totally slipped my mind. They are able to escape, but Nynaeve gets captured, and then we have a couple episodes of Nynaeve essentially being like tortured and being
Egwene.
God damn it, Egwene, being tortured and sort of getting this magical dog collar on her, essentially, that forces her
Like
to
a ball gag almost.
use magic, and she gets paired up with this. It's kind of like a Ramsay Bolton-esque
Yeah,
character, but a female version.
and nicer and willing to
Yeah,
like.
not like a rapist and
Yeah.
overall murderer, but just like, you work for me now, and you're gonna do what
Mm-hmm.
I say, or I'll cut your fucking tongue out.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve is just like, damn it, I keep doing it. Egwene is just her. The acting in it, I think, was just really great in terms of sadness and fear
And
and
the
anger
pain just
and the
trying to touch the
pain. And
leash.
yeah, and just it was such a cool magic item of just, you can't hurt me with any item because this device won't
Hmm.
let you. Like,
Or if you
just the thought of
think,
you hurting me will
yeah,
cause you pain. It's like,
if you think you could pick up this glass and hit me in the head with it, you won't even be able to drink out of the glass. You
yeah,
have to perceive everything as never to be a weapon, otherwise you can't use it.
yeah, which was
It's great.
yeah. I thought all that stuff was fun. I just wish I knew more about these people and their world
Yeah.
and their mission. Like, they wanted to conquer other stuff, but I forget why. Their army was being used by Ishmael and all
Hmm.
that people for some nefarious reasons, but I forget
Yeah.
why.
Not.
It's just, so much of the show is so unclear, but I'm having such a good time watching it that I
Hmm.
don't really care.
Yeah.
Which usually for me is the opposite. It's,
Hmm.
if I don't understand what's going on, that is a major problem. But it's just, all right, we got to defeat the bad guy. Everything else is just kind of like flavor of the world.
Hmm.
Uh, so anyway, now we can talk about the final episode, which is the culmination of all these characters
Yep.
getting to the city to
Hmm.
try and get back to their friends and rescue people and defeat the bad guys. And I think from what I've seen online, episode 8 is not everyone's, book reader wise, not everyone's favorite.
Okay.
But from a show perspective, I really loved the last episode.
Hmm.
I thought it was a lot of fun, even though it definitely seemed to be taking ideas from Tolkien in a lot of regards. Um, but so we have Rand coming to the city, kills. We have this the fingernail king
Hmm.
and all of his minions, and Rand comes in, and we've seen Rand use magic a little bit, but never really on anybody.
Yeah.
And it just seems like
Like
mastered it,
nothing.
and just comes up with these like magic glass shards and kills 12 guys instantly. Super
Amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
I was like, didn't see that coming. That was
Uh-huh.
great. And so he's looking for Egwene. Egwene has now kind of become,
The most powerful lapdog.
yeah, the most powerful lapdog in the army, and she has to go on this tower and shoot fireballs down at the invading force,
But she don't wanna.
the white cloaks. But she doesn't want to. But then she gets saved by a trebuchet that kills pretty much all the other people around her. So it's
Yeah.
just her and her captor, and her killing her captor was very satisfying.
Yeah, I really thought she was gonna let her go and be
Mhm.
like, "I'm better than you."
Yeah,
No,
but no,
fuck you.
I'm just gonna choke you
You're
out with magic
dead.
to death.
Yeah,
And how she was able to trick her and do the thing to her. It's like, I can't hurt you, yeah, but you can't hurt me now, kind of
yeah.
thing. It was
No, we
just,
both got a
yeah. So
collar.
you let me go, and I'll let your collar go, and
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just really, it only took a couple episodes for me to be totally invested in these two characters,
Mm-hmm.
and that the her captor. Once again, don't know her name, but I thought she like stole the show in the very
Yeah.
few scenes that she had. Perrin has come to the city and has met up with his old friends who were captured from the the
Hmm.
warriors he was with, and Loyal, the Ogier, has found the horn, which like we kind of
Okay.
was important to season one, but like you didn't know
That
what
was
the
like the one of the last scenes, wasn't
yeah.
it?
There was a horn that was important and it gets taken away and then it gets brought back in this final episode.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's
That's going to be the one through line through all of them. It's just like, oh, now I have it. And now I'll put it in this chest and we don't have to worry about it until the final
yeah.
episode.
And one of the bad guys, the skinny black guy with the gap tooth, he comes.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he's like a fun jester type character because
Yeah.
he's always got this like this smile to him, this trickster vibe to him,
Hmm.
and he puts the knife down in front of Matt and he's like, "You're gonna touch this thing eventually. Like
Yeah.
I'll see in a little bit when you
Hmm.
touch it, become one of us or whatever." And then Matt's like, "No, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it on a stick." And
He's
so
just going to kill everyone with one
he
stick.
just starts stabbing people with
Yeah.
this dark evil knife, which I once again I don't know what it does.
I don't get it.
It's like part lightsaber, part black goo infecting the weapon, whatever. Um, and
But he doesn't get him with it, does he?
he doesn't get the trickster guy. He
Okay.
just kills a guard with
Okay.
it. And yeah, so Perrin has met up like him and his new lady companions. They team up with the mercenaries, and so they're just fighting in the battle, trying to get to. I think they're looking for Nynaeve and Egwene,
Hmm.
and so they're just kind of there. And then Matt, he has the horn and he blows it, and it turns out and it summons a ghost army. Who would have thought? Where have I seen ghost armies in fantasy before?
It's a
Uh,
fresh new idea.
that brings back the heroes of old.
Oh yeah, and so the guy who got his face smashed on a spike is just like, yeah,
I was a hero,
I'm a hero.
which I was like, I was surprised to see him, but then they're just like, yeah, man, I'm a hero. All right, cool. I
Cool.
guess he's a hero. But them coming back, and it just seemed like you saw them from all these like different cultures, and
Hmm.
it seemed like there was elf people and like
But we
Asian
are
geishas.
far flung into the future of,
Yeah.
so it would
There's a
have
very
people.
diverse
Yeah.
cast in terms of like the looks of all these different
Hmm.
heroes. There, I think there was like one that looked kind of like Vikings
Yeah,
and
one
whatever.
was a samurai.
Yeah. So that scene I thought was like kind of fun, and like I don't love it because Matt blows his horn and is like, "Oh, I was a hero of old. I remember," and he just becomes a great fighter. It just seemed like such a silly thing to do.
Hmm.
Normally, I think I would hate it, but once again, it was just kind of it just seemed fun, and
Yeah.
I just kind of enjoyed. Oh, Matt isn't worthless, and he's
Hmm.
now like really good with the spear, and he's killing guys, and he's a
Is
great
that
warrior.
his weapon now? A spear he just can't touch the end of?
Maybe I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he just throws that
Throws it in the
like now
river.
that he's remembered his past or
Yeah.
he's possessed by the powers of the heroes of old, he just throws it away. And I don't know if once the heroes disappear, those memories disappear, so he just goes back to being Matt.
I don't know.
But if he just kind of like gets to blow a horn and now he's just good at fighting, I think that's kind of
That's
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But after he fights off these people. He's the only one who can get to Rand and save him in time. And I like that, they're best friends, but it's not the rival thing, but Rand's the great hero and Matt's the loser, but now this is Matt's chance to be a hero. And he goes to kill the bad guy, and it's just an illusion, and he stabs his friend.
Yeah.
I was like, so it completes the vision we saw early in the
Hmm.
season.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was like, oh, are they? I was like, I know they're not going to really kill Rand in this episode, but
Yeah.
uh, then anyway, all of our heroes have now converged. Everyone is back in a group, and they're able to defeat the Ishmael and defeat his armies. And Moraine gets her magic back, and she bonds with Lan again. And Moraine is able to like destroy the armada that's in the bay or whatever. So Rand can use his powers, and then she summons this great dragon made of fire in the sky. And it was all just like it was all like so kind of cheesy, but
Hmm.
still kind of fun. And it's one of the reasons I like fantasy. It's like, yeah, this stuff is like kind of fucking stupid, but it's also kind of fucking fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, just the last shot of them all standing on the tower as a group together, and just a giant flaming dragon going like, "It. We're now starting the show."
Hmm.
It was. I thought it was a very satisfying finale, and then the epilogue is, oh, all those other Forsaken that we can't release them. They're
Hmm.
too dangerous.
Yeah.
Secretly, re-released them. So tune in next season to
Yep.
see
Yep.
Scary Spider Lady.
Yeah, she was like a really boring bureaucrat almost. Where the other one's like, I use my wit and my sex to get people, and she's just like very just by the book and very nebbish, and I don't know. I'm
And she
interested.
has like laser web powers or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But you
So
forgot the big shocking moment of the entire series. Remember, it was like a couple weeks ago. I said there was something in the finale that actually made me go
right.
like, I gasped
Yeah, yeah,
because I
yeah.
couldn't believe that they would take an axe to his dog's back. His
Yeah.
wolf, fucking, he was just introduced like 4 episodes ago. His name was Hopper, and I thought they were gonna
I
have
think it was.
some,
I thought it was a she. I thought it
or
was
she is
her
Hopper.
name was yeah.
And
Uh,
I thought they were gonna have these great adventures, and then nope, axe to the back.
yeah. So that's the part that both worked for me and didn't work for me because you established this like wolf companion, even though it was just a dog.
Yeah.
Um, and they were like had some cute moments, like you stay here, and the dog was like, and whatever. I like them
But then
together.
always comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, but it just I wish I had a season or like a whole season of them bonding, or like they do cute
Yeah.
stuff, or like that dog gets them out of jams, or like they're just sharing meat with each other or something
Yeah.
like
Especially after reading the Robin Hobb books
or
and
yes,
how much
Night
that.
Eyes is so good.
Yeah.
Or like just have a scene where like the dog like licks his face, but none of
Yeah.
that stuff happens. So when the dog gets killed, but it didn't feel necessarily earned, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's so fucking cute that,
Yeah.
and it was so shocking to see it die.
You
And
would not expect it to happen.
and not only did it die, you saw it like lying on the floor, like bleeding out, and
Yeah.
just staring at him, and it just looked so sad. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It almost made like
Yeah.
I could feel emotions
And
coming
then
in.
his soul starts jumping out, and it's like, oh my god, they actually, no one's gonna rush up and like put healing hands on it or something. No, okay, he's just actually dead.
Yeah,
Okay,
I from a show that I thought never hit me emotionally, that scene, and I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, dead dogs are sad. I mean, I love dogs,
yeah,
but just because a dog dies doesn't make me
yeah,
like cry. But that was just like, oh wow, I'm surprised at how this
mm-hmm.
almost got me there,
Yeah,
because I didn't see it coming, and it was sort of jarring to see the axe go into its back and it just slowly die in
yeah,
front of us, and then its spirit floats to the heavens. I was like, holy shit.
yeah,
Yeah, I sorry, I forgot about that. But anyway, so that's kind of like a
yeah. That's
general
the whole
recap of the
thing.
show.
Yeah,
And ultimately, I think I don't know if it was the time off or the pandemic or just hearing what fans liked and didn't work, or maybe it was just like we had an increased budget so we could do more. But I thought season two was a vast improvement over
mm-hmm.
season one, and I liked it a lot more, despite my plenty of grievances of things here and
Sure.
there. I think it worked more than it didn't,
Yeah.
and I look forward to seeing where it goes.
I fear this show will get canceled because it kind of came out without any fanfare. Um, and I know it didn't have a huge following, but I figured I'd see more ads for it. I just happened to turn on Amazon Prime and it was like, first 3 episodes available. I'm like, shit, this came out. I didn't even realize that. But I have a fear that they will double down on Lord of the Rings
Hmm.
and go, well, we only have enough room for one fantasy show and cut this.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it would be just to service Rings of Power, but I mean, I know they're trying to do Gears of War. I know they're trying to do God of War. They're
Sure.
trying to do a bunch of different like high expensive big franchise properties. So it's like, oh, we can cut Wheel of Time and do God of War. We can cut Wheel of Time and do Doom or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
want to do.
Because they're not going to cut Lord of the Rings. They spent $1 billion like on the season, plus so much more to get the rights.
Yeah.
And there's just it's too much. It's a
But at the
bigger
same time,
name.
it's the biggest company in the world, so
They could afford
they
it.
could
Yeah.
afford to cut it and not be like devastated by the loss.
I just don't want them to sacrifice Wheel of Time because this is a show that if they just stick with it and get through the biggest, most major arc, the biggest story beats of this whole series, you could have a really good show that I think studios never look at the years to come. It's always about opening weekend. So you have a movie, and I've used this before, like Blade Two. Blade Two opened with this backstory of who Blade was and what happened in the first movie. And for me, I'm usually you don't get to do that. If you didn't see the first movie, it's your own fucking fault if you're confused. You don't need to do that. And they only put that in the movie for opening weekends, for when it's in the theaters. Because when it's on DVD and it's 10 years old, it's old enough that you don't need to be referencing it. It's now just part of the zeitgeist of everything.
Hmm.
So when you have a show like Wheel of Time and they go, fuck it, just cancel it, whatever. Well, think about in 15 years when they're talking of the best sci-fi fantasy shows and they go, oh, Wheel of Time. It's too bad it never really got its chance. It got canceled way too soon. And like, this show may not give you the numbers you're hoping for, but just think of what it is as a property in the future. Don't
Yeah.
you want to have this finished? Don't you want to be able to come back to it and release box sets and have people have 10-year reunions? Well, if you cancel it after a couple of seasons, no one gives a shit. And now you spent all that money on something that no one's ever going to revisit because it's an incomplete thing.
Yeah. And I think that's something like HBO had done so well. Like when they were starting out, it's like, okay, these things they're unlike anything else on TV, and but the viewership was so small. It's like they're not doing huge numbers like NBC and ABC or whatever, but it's like we're gonna keep these shows on like The Wire and Oz and Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
And so like once people like they gave those shows room to breathe. Now those shows weren't nearly as expensive
Sure.
as stuff that
But
would
they were
come.
expensive for the time.
Sure, um, but they let the show, despite ratings, like The Wire was always on the verge of being canceled. But now, because they let it finish and it grew an audience over time, it's now regarded as one of the greatest shows
Yeah.
ever made. My favorite show ever. And it lives in this, like, and everyone, whenever someone talks about TV, have you seen The Wire? Have you seen Breaking Bad? It's
Yeah.
in the top five
Uh-huh.
constantly.
But if
Um,
The Wire only had three
but
seasons,
yeah,
no
it's
one
like they would
would
have been like, "Oh, that was a good show. I would have liked to see
see
more."
more. Yeah.
I don't know if it would have hit
And maybe that's
the
not a good
pinnacle.
example because it's not necessarily a single arc. But if it was like, say, Breaking Bad canceled after three seasons, it'd be like, man, they were really onto something. I wonder where that would
It
have
was really
gone.
getting cooking.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, there's differences in terms of like price and whatever. Like crime dramas are have a lot more mass appeal than just fantasy genre. So
Sure.
there's multi levels to it. But because there's so few fantasy shows, or at least so few fantasy shows done well, I think it would be a disservice to cut the show, especially because it's one of the most highly regarded fantasy series of all time in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the books and everything. I don't want to see them give up on it, like you said. I think it has potential to grow so long as all the right pieces keep
Mm-hmm.
moving and everything. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. What's next week?
Next week is something good. I always forget that this is my job.
It's Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's that, and then the week after that, it's that Allison Brie, John Cena movie where they're like one's a mercenary or something. It looks like Lost City with Brad Pitt and
Oh,
Channing Tatum. It looks like one of those.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
it
definitely gonna watch Killers of the Flower Moon.
yeah.
Uh,
I know it's
I think you're
coming.
gonna hate it.
Yeah, I'm already planning to hate it. I'm prejudging it because fuck Martin Scorsese.
How
Um,
dare you?
I'm just sick of his shit. He's such a pretentious asshole. Not everything you make is good, and you don't get to define what cinema is for everybody. So fuck you. And
I,
what? Why are you shaking
th-
your head?
I think you are just like seeing the headlines and the snippets on. It's just like you're getting like the very base information. Like I think if you heard him talk and being the lover of like
Yeah, he loves movies, but it's a very specific pie wedge. He doesn't like certain other things, and it's not true cinema, and it's not a real movie unless you see it on the big screen. And it's the same with like Christopher Nolan talking about that shit. Like, fuck off! You don't get to choose what is great and what's not, and because like, look at you, Scorsese. Not everything you've made is good. Like, look at fucking
sure.
Hugo. That's not a good movie. It's a good looking movie, but it's not a good movie. Like The Irishman, I haven't seen it, but a lot of people say like that movie's not very good at all. But it's like you made some really good things in the past, but more recently, I do not give a shit about anything. And you made Silence, which fuck you. I hate that movie so much. But I will see this movie, but I really don't want to spend 4 hours in the theater. At home, I could do this. I could do this on Netflix. And I know it's eventually coming to streaming.
I thought it was it's
But
not
was it same
it's
day?
Apple.
Oh, it's okay. I have Apple, but is it same day and date, or is it?
It might be. I think it's saying or a week before in like Los Angeles, and
But then when it's
but
for us normies,
it might be in like two theaters now, but then for us normies next week or whatever
okay, but on streaming next week as
on
well.
streaming. Yeah.
Okay, well then I will watch it at home because I'm going to need to be able to, take breaks. But yeah, I'll watch it. But
Well, I love Martin Scorsese, but I mean, I'm not going to be the person who defends The Irishman. Or I think Silence is one of his most beautiful looking films, but it is also not a joy to watch.
mm-mm,
And Irishman, I think film lovers really love The Irishman, but I think Irishman is a slog
mm-hmm,
and was made 20 to 30 years too late.
yeah.
But I mean, it was a decade ago. But I mean, Wolf of Wall Street is, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
one
Wolf
of
of
the
Wall Street's
best
great.
movies he's ever
I
made.
love King of Comedy. Great. Like I don't have anything against Taxi Driver, but I don't love Taxi Driver.
Oh, I mean, I like Taxi Driver. I like Raging
Mm.
Bull. Goodfellas is one of the greatest
Yeah,
movies.
Goodfellas is a
Casino's great.
fantastic.
I mean, I we don't need to make a Martin Scorsese. This could be for a
We'll wait
talk.
till
Yeah, yeah,
next week when we actually see it.
yeah. We'll talk about
But
Scorsese.
also, I'd like the week after that is Five Nights at Freddy's, which is going to be awful.
Yeah, I have no faith
I
in that.
have no
I mean, I
faith.
never played the game, but I have no
Neither
faith in
did
that
I.
movie.
But you got to see it so we can talk about it. I kind of want to watch Willy's Wonderland just to have a comparison movie,
Hmm.
but I hear that movie's awful. And then the week after that, I believe, is The Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which may be like the last movie of this year that I'm actually like excited for. I mean,
You're were you a fan of Hunger Game
yeah,
movies?
I like Hunger. I mean, I'm not. I've never read the books. I'm not in love with them. I've seen them all once,
Okay.
but I like this idea. The trailer looks excellent. I like the world of Pan Am and having battle royales. I'm a big fan of children killing each other. Uh,
Or
so
getting eaten by dogs.
or getting my dogs. It's great. Uh, I'm gonna be going through the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, okay.
I want to, as I always do, I want to just boom, 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 knock them out real quick. But I'm gonna try to pace it out. I watched Hunger Games today. Still holds up. I think it's a real fun movie.
So, what week is our 100th episode celebration?
Okay, so this is episode 95. So we
Okay.
still have 5 weeks.
Oh,
So we'll
okay. So we
go
got some time.
96 Flowers. Five Nights at Freddy's is 97.
Hunger
Hunger
Games.
Games is 98, and then whatever is after that will be 99, and then 100th special, and we'll have
I
a
already
treat for
have
you.
notes prepared.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have a little special thing for that, and we won't say, but if you know us, if you know this show, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Keep consuming.